Yeah, I showed up late.
And I had not met him before that, so.
That's true. Well, if you guys are ready, I can go ahead and start with the recap.
Yes.
All right. So, last we left our heroes, the group had made their way out of the Underdark for the first time together and began their journey to the Moonshore Isles. Along this journey, the group would have to trek through the grasslands and then the Southern Woodlands. Upon arriving at the Southern Woodlands, our heroes discovered a grove of treants, protectors of the forest, and witnessed a battle between these ancient creatures and a demonic foe. After slaying the foe, our heroes agreed to investigate where this fiend came from and discovered a tear in space connecting the abyss with the material plane. After slaying the fiends in the nearby area, the group crested a cliff's edge and bore witness to the source of smoke rising in the sky. A tower, made of black obsidian, stood tall, surrounded by orcs fighting off lesser demons, also surrounding the tower. Burning the trees and the fires below, the smoke rises, and now the risky rollers. What do you do?
Well,
Beatrice is going to whisper to all of you. I do believe that we should get back. I recognize that flag flown by the orc. They're not to be trifled with.
what flag? What?
Yeah,
what
you
flag
said there
is
was a flag, correct?
Yes.
Yes. There are flags billowing in the wind, and these flags have the image of a triangle as well as a line going through the center. Beatrice recognizes this symbol, which I can try to send to you all, so that way you all have a visual. But apparently I have no internet. So imagination time.
Damn.
I might be able to help. Hold on.
Awesome. Oh, yes, you print out stuff too? Yes, this is
That's the
the
symbol.
symbol that is on the flags.
Oh, my
Oh, triangular eye.
broken.
It's the tribe of Grumish. They are chaotic warriors, and they eat their weakest members. They'll also eat elves and humans, so I suggest we fall back, at least for now.
Sounds like Thanksgiving within Drow Society.
It's very metal. Tamaris is. We have the two. Trents are still with us, right?
Right, Vernock and
Fernock and Balanos are both behind you all. And even though that you know the trees are there, it takes you a moment to focus your vision and see them there as they are standing very still, watching as a lot of the forest has been burned.
I approach Vernock. What do you plan to do about this?
We must discuss. This is my grove, but there are many little trees burning the rest.
Well, we can't take down an entire angry orc horde on our own.
Certainly not.
I agree.
Well, we should probably make our way back to the grove then.
Would it help if they couldn't see?
What does
Couldn't
that
see.
mean? I don't know. What do you mean can't see? Can't see us? Can't see at all?
Can't see at all. I can cast darkness up to 60 feet.
Just so
It
you
wouldn't
know,
be a very large cone, but not even a big bonfire could light their way. And I doubt that any of them use magic.
Their clan typically runs from 100 to 150 warriors. Unless your darkness can cover that many, I suggest not drawing any attention.
Unfortunately not.
Do we have any clue as to... I mean, we can't stop 150 people, but... we can deal with the... We've at least closed one portal that the demons are coming out
We
of.
covered it up. I don't know that it's closed.
Oh, yeah, I think we covered that.
Taylor laughs.
I think
Sounds
the best
like
thing to do would be to return to the grove and discuss this further, and then the Trents can maybe speak to other groves to deal with the threat.
Yes, I think the best thing we can do is spread the news of what we have seen. I doubt very many people have ventured towards the smoke, as it is pretty destroyed. The forest is pretty destroyed over here. So I think the best course of action is spreading what we know.
Okay.
We've taken down some pretty epic enemies, but the risk of us getting caught, the repercussions of us getting caught in there, could cause a wave of destruction against the forest. Orcs are not always rational,
Yeah, and
like our friend Ront.
I am running low on spell slots as well. Because I'm a warlock, I have, 2. So I'm at 1. So I can take a short rest, but that doesn't help anyone else.
And also, we just can't face those kind of numbers, even with 2 Trents.
No.
I'd like to ask the Trents something. Is there any chance that we could assemble you guys could assemble some kind of army to take this place down? Was there like a big river we could maybe undam? Something like that?
Looking around, you don't see a river anywhere, at least in sight that could be undammed. But Bolanos and Vernock both look down at you, and Vernock says,
We protect the forest. But we cannot pull other groves from what they protect. This is our grove. We would have to send word to the rest of the grove. This also leaves the rest of our grove unprotected.
Well, if this threat isn't dealt with, there won't be a grove left to protect.
You suggest we attack Griff?
If we have the strength of numbers, I believe we can succeed. How many Trents are there in your grove, Vernock?
About 70.
I mean, that's a decent number.
With 5 elders.
70 is quite a bit. Like,
A lot of Trents.
That's a lot of Trents.
A lot of Trents, plus us.
How long would it take to assemble the Trents, Vernock?
The Dryads would send the word. Bless you, little tree.
Thank you.
It all depends on how quickly they will move. Perhaps a day's time.
if we were to do this, we should get word out now and spend the day resting until we can move out. Otherwise, we'll have to send help from somewhere else.
What do they like to eat besides humans and elves?
Each other.
Likely anything that stands in their way.
Mostly carnivorous diet, if you didn't guess.
I have a poisoner's kit.
They like big game. You'd have to poison something large and hope they all eat from it.
In addition, we would be harming the forest we're trying to protect here.
Yeah.
Which, if we want help from the Trents, I imagine they're not going to be okay with that plan.
Regardless, I don't think we're solving anything by standing here.
That's fair.
Let's travel back with stealth. Be very stealthy.
All right. Then everybody roll stealth for me.
God.
I'm sorry,
I
guys.
see you trek away.
28.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not a rogue. Yeah, it's a 6.
Okay.
18 from Griff.
Right.
23.
Tamarissa. No surprise.
What was it, Daedrus?
23.
All right. Okay. So, to y'all's knowledge, you sneak away very stealthily
Fabulous.
and together are marching back towards where you had fought the demons that had come out of the rift. You can see that your mold earth has taken coverage over the space where the tear was, and you're currently walking back through this crumbled old town. Plant life has already grown over it. It's grayed plant life as the very chaotic essence of coming out of this portal. But you are currently in this area walking your way back.
Can I roll perception to look around and see if there's anything creeping?
Absolutely.
I'd also like to roll perception, but on anything that smells dead.
Sure.
That will be a 5, so I
Yeah.
speck of dust.
A speck of dust. Yeah, you don't, looking around, you don't see anything that is creeping or watching.
I got a 14. So do I smell anything dead?
You can smell the well, it's fresh, but you can smell the soon-to-be rotting remains of the unicorn.
Can I inspect the unicorn to see how much meat's left on it?
Sure, roll investigation. Or roll nature.
So that's a 19.
Okay. So this thing was pretty torn apart. The only things intact are its hind legs. Everything else is shredded. It is bleeding across the ground. Even the horn has been snapped.
Alright. Can I roll Arcana on the unicorn horn?
Absolutely.
Bizarre is going to call out quietly to Daedrus out loud.
Not 1.
All right. You don't even know what a unicorn horn is.
Yeah. Cool.
No, you do, but you can't. Nothing comes to mind.
Yeah, that's what I thought. God damn it. You guys have been bad the last couple times.
Daedrus.
Yes.
I have an idea. It's a long shot, but I would rather run it by you first.
Well, I'm listening.
I'm assuming that orcs have a good sense of smell.
With that, I'm not sure. Gallither always told me to avoid them at any chance I could get.
If they do have a good sense of smell, I imagine they would smell the carnage here. And the hind legs seem to be still abundant with meat. I'd rather not touch it if it bothers you. But I thought I would poison the last of the meat.
Well, that is up to you. I personally would rather not get involved with dealing with unicorn remains. They're very sacred creatures.
Then I'll leave it untouched.
You see Vernok walk over, and his fingers, the twigs, curl and cover over the unicorn, almost in a cage-like fashion. They start to grow a bit more from his forearm before he breaks off his hand, kind of caging the unicorn in this circular branch-like area, and little flowers start to grow across the top and on the branches. And Vernok's hand starts to slowly grow back. And he just looks down at the unicorn.
You was a protector.
As far as the gate goes, how is it, like, I mean, obviously we, like, covered it and stuff, but does it look, I don't know, like we actually covered it?
So looking at it, the earth that was molded is lacquer.
Yeah, that's right up. It's not a permanent solution? Not at all?
I don't think so.
Okay, well. Venera sort of like chuckles and said, we could always lead the orcs into there, but I don't know of any way to realistically do that.
Not to be rude, but if they just had a bit of suggestion and knowing Ron, I think they would go in there.
We can convince them there's plenty of meat to be found there.
Let's keep that in the back of our mind. But
Well, I definitely don't think we should let it leave our minds until we have a more permanent solution than just burying it in the ground.
agreed. For now, though, like, we should continue back, but that is a plan worth considering.
I agree.
And we also agree that if and when we run into Raunch again, that we won't speak of what I said.
We would never do that to him. I walk over, as we walk, I kind of make my way over to Daedrus. So you recognize this Orc Tribe flag. Have you had run-ins with them before?
Not personally. I've seen them at a distance. Gallither warned me. He warned of interactions and how they have no problem eating an elf. He also said it'd just be best to stay as far away as possible. Their scouting parties are normally no less than 10.
10?
Definitely be.
Just their scouting parties.
Right. That's big scouting party. Sorry, I was surprised. My bad.
They're warriors. They don't go places to look ahead. They go and they kill whatever they find.
I can't think of any reason why they would be here burning through a forest. Have they displayed this sort of behavior in your engagement with them before? Is this what they do? Do they just burn? Are they trying to accomplish something?
Well, they follow a god by the name of Grimsh after their tribe name. He's a Orcish god of tempest and war. It's said that he blesses those that he comes in contact with madness and gives them vision of omens and prophecies. And all I can assume is this may be one of those, and they're just acting on it.
I constructed that tower for some reason.
And quickly. What could they be up to?
That I don't know.
Kind of odd behavior for an orc horde, I would have to say.
It is, especially because they're not literate.
No. So something must be.
Or someone.
Someone must be guiding their conquest.
By chance, do any of you have a strongbow sigil?
Sorry, I don't know the name. So I'm gonna say no, but what is
You would know the name. The strongbow is the empire that you live in.
right?
No. I do
No.
not.
Just a wonder. They typically will respect anyone wearing the strongbow symbol. I don't know why. Some sort of treaty or bargain, but they'll typically leave those that are wearing it alone.
Interesting.
Might be worth finding one then.
Or 5. Well,
We're
I kind
walking
of-
while we're talking, right?
Yes, I assume that you guys are walking and talking.
Wanted to specify. Sorry.
Walking to walk.
so Tamarissa kind of goes quiet for a second and looks at the ground where she's walking. And then she says, an orc horde destroyed my entire kingdom. Totally out of the blue for no reason whatsoever that I can possibly conceive to do that kind of destruction. But I do know what they're capable of doing now, having seen it, and if they have anything in store for this forest that they did for Taldori, it's not going to be pretty. I wouldn't mind getting a closer look.
Do you know the orc horde that destroyed your kingdom?
I don't. I unfortunately wasn't there. I left to go and find help because my patron goddess warned me in advance of the invasion. And by the time I got back, it was too late. They left nothing. I've never seen so many bodies.
I'm sorry that that happened to you. If there's any way to help, I
There's
extend
certainly-
my bow.
There certainly will be at some point. I just hope that we're all as close of friends when I do actually face my destiny. And I kind of fiddle with the amulet around my neck. Well, anyway, I suggest we gather as much information as possible so as to avoid any destruction to this beautiful forest.
I'd
And I
have to
kind of
agree.
quicken my step just a little bit so I'm not like, I walk away from the flashbacks. So, yeah.
And as you all are walking throughout this forest, it turns from the gray to back to the green, varying shades of it, hints of blue. And after about an hour or so of walking, you reach back, and it's not the sight that lets you know you're almost there. It's the whinny of eclipse that lets you know that you are just
My baby.
around the corner. And coming around, you do see 3 tall treants standing, staring down at Eclipse, who's just trotting around, eating the grass, putting on a show almost for these beings.
When they returned, Datress would probably walk away from the group and go to her horse. And are there you said there were like rose bushes around, correct?
Yes, so the rosewood grove, the tree trunks of the rosewood trees, they grow large bulbous blue roses that give off a slight light blue glow. And this is why they are called the rosewoods.
Audacious would like to ask one of the treants, she doesn't mind which one, if she would be allowed to pick a couple of the roses.
The forest is meant to be shared.
Audacious would nod and say thanks, and she would lead Eclipse over to the roses and begin to braid his hair, and up in his mane, like up near his neck, she would be inserting the glowing blue roses.
And you do very expertly, as you have messed with horsehair before. And it is creating a very beautiful blue glow to his mane.
My precious warhorse is a show pony.
Vernock and Balanos both walk over to the other standing three treants and in their own language begin to discuss what you can only assume is what they had just bore witness to. Griff, you can of course roll intelligence if you want to see what they have said.
I'm sort of watching Datress braid her horse's hair, like kind of absent-mindedly. And I keep kind of shooting a glance over to Griff because I know that he can kind of understand what they're saying.
So 16.
16, okay. So at first when you heard the language again, it took you a second. You hadn't spoken or heard Treant in a while, but being back in the forest, hearing it again, you're picking up on the words, and you hear them, Vernock and Balanos, talking about the tear, the demons, the orc tribe, the tall obsidian tower emanating smoke, the forest that has died. And you see the other three, Kisai and the other two, whose names you would know, Griff, are Milai and Aigeros.
Milai and Aigeros.
So in total, it is Vernock, Kisai, Milai, Aigeros, and Balanos. And together they are discussing letting the dryads know and letting the animals know.
Could you spell the last two?
Yes. Meliae and Algeiros.
You said they were talking to the animals?
They're talking amongst each other, saying that they need to let the animals know, the dryads know, to spread the word to the rest of the grove. Griff, you would know that these five are the elders of the grove, of the Rosewood.
Okay.
Uh-oh, half of Shannon is...
Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
I think
Haley left and that screwed everything up. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And she didn't leave.
I was like,
sorry.
So I am now the dungeon master.
Game changer.
Then I will be the first light.
Actually, you're the wood elf.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, yeah. You are.
All right.
For those of you who are interested, by the way, in learning more about the treants, we have a video up on our YouTube channel called Taylor for the treants, if you want to learn a little bit more about them in this crazy, kooky world.
It's very good. You should go watch it.
Oh, thanks. And I just posted another one today about my favorite monster, mimics.
All right, we're good now.
Okay.
Are you back, Haley?
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just closed like everything I had open on my computer. So
Datress gets pulled into a dimension.
Crap. We should
But you-
close that hole.
You do hear them discussing if they should call the whole grove, if they should call some. They are currently trying to decide upon that, especially as if they are all here, the rest of the grove is unwatched.
I mean, Griff, you have a better understanding of these trends than the rest of us. What are their combat capabilities?
they're huge. They can quite easily crush a number of orcs on their own. They're quite formidable in combat, and even I would say 30 or 40 could handle an orc horde if they fought together. I think the reason the rest of the forest has been ravaged so badly is because they're spread out.
Okay, well, that's good. Do you think that
Datris, what sort of numbers did you say we were looking at?
Between 100 and 150, most likely.
But if the whole lot showed up, I believe they'd be able to take out the horde, the tower, and just about everything there. It would leave the forest unprotected for a time, but it would be destroyed otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a choice we have on that front. It still doesn't solve our portal problem.
You did
Well,
say
I think
that
our
they eat their wheat.
They do eat their weak, yes.
We can make a couple of them weak at a time until they eat each other out.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's fucked up. Holy shit.
And Bizarre's just gonna look and go, what?
If that's
This is
how we're
human
going
jerky
to
we're
phrase
talking
it,
to.
okay.
I did eat human jerky.
You did. You did do that. I kind of raised my eyebrow. Like, I've been in a few. I haven't. The army at Tal'Dorei wasn't a particularly active army because it was a time of peace, but I did some strategy planning. And so I'm kind of just like immediately thinking of all the ways like that we could put that together and how long it would take for it to work before I'm like, I don't think we can do that. I think that would take quite a while, and you know, watching them eat each other over a long period of time isn't exactly how I was looking to spend next month of my life.
Just
I
a
have to
thought.
agree.
But it's on the table.
And Vernock slowly leans down. So that way, he's not like eye level with you all, but he's definitely bending down to speak to you all.
We have decided we will call the grove.
And he stands up tall, and you hear a treant song. And it's not a song that you all are used to songs being, but it is the sound of nature, the wind, the leaves crackling, the raindrops, so even though it's not even raining anymore. It is a symphony of the natural sound. And as this song is being played by all 5 of the treants, Veneros, you are looking out and you see a head pop up from behind Bizarra and poke out, just petals unraveling from this rose to see a face. And you're seeing more and more pop out from these trees, male, female, non-binary, just popping out, these dryads, similar to ones that you have seen before. And they're looking at all of you and then up at the song. After about a minute or so, they look down, wide eyes, and their petals envelop over their face before they shrink back in and are gone. And the song comes to an end. And Vernock looks down and says,
The call has been done.
Do we need to go prepare or something? And I kind of look at Griff.
We should probably rest. We just had a battle.
Yes, I think that would be best. He said it would take about a day for the grove to assemble.
That's fair. Okay. And yeah, I think probably. What time is it, DM?
you would guess that it's approximately like 6 o'clock. The night is still young.
Yeah, so we can still do some preparations of some kind if we wanted to.
Do you have any books about orcs in your... And I look up at Vernok's shoulder. Nook?
I can certainly check. Then I just kind of look up at Vernok and signal.
His hand comes down, and you can see the roots forming in the ways of a staircase leading up his arm to your nook in his shoulder.
I'd like to search through my nook for anything I could find to help us with our battle that we're approaching.
Venero says, Beatrice, could I pick your brain on terms of you seem to have the most experience with these, though admittedly not much. Can I pick your brain on any potential weaknesses we can take advantage of?
And Griff, roll investigation too.
Weaknesses. Well, I can
That's
say the
a
tribe
14.
tends to never stay in one place more than a week or 10 day. Oh. Admittedly, I don't know much of their weaknesses, I must say.
It's fine, it was a long shot anyways.
Well, I suppose my fear is that, as previously stated, they aren't the brightest creatures this side of the Empire, which means that there's probably something governing them in their movements, in their actions, and
Is it common?
what if that something is a powerful wizard or a warlock that is controlling them?
Well, that's more my speed, but frankly, we don't know.
Well,
And I don't know how we could know.
I can say that in this tribe, most orcs, or they're eaten for being weak, are allowed to prove themselves via arcane magic. I do know that. Don't know how that would help us. But yeah.
I feel like we need more info. I feel like we have to get info. And
We have
And
to.
also the
See,
leader of the tribe is able to read and write, if that helps at all. Only the leader, though.
Yeah, that could mean that this is a branch maybe being governed by themselves, which is a little less threatening than them having some sort of boss, but we do need to gather some more information. I don't want to lead half the force into a blind battle.
I have to agree.
I agree.
And really quickly, Griff, looking through your old nook, you don't find any books specifically about orc tribes and whatnot, but you do find your cot, the blanket that was weaved for you a long time ago by your mother, as well as a couple of sketches of animals in the forest, an empty journal, quill and ink, and a rose that is still growing inside of a makeshift vase. You were a very simple man.
I didn't keep much. When I leave, I'll certainly be taking my blanket with me. Not something I should have left.
I'd like to roll history, seeing how orcs are undesirable races. They might have been in the Underdark.
You can roll history to see what you know about orcs.
And what would I know about? Could I roll to see what I'd know about working with obsidian?
Absolutely. And advantage because of your stone work.
Cunning.
And stone cutting. What was that, Bizarra?
Nat 20.
Okay, so
History.
you actually don't know much about orcs. They don't really go into the Underdark very much. They prefer the grasslands. And if they do go into the Underdark, it's typically just on the verge to hunt. Drow wouldn't allow orcs in the city.
Is that a history check?
That would be nature.
Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a 19.
19. So I'm assuming you're wanting to know more specifically about the tower's obsidian, but obsidian is very difficult to craft. It has been used in very special items, typically ones that involve magic. It's interesting that there's so much obsidian in one place, especially a tower that tall.
Right.
That would have had to have been brought in from neighboring places.
Okay.
Yeah, that is not native to this forest.
I sort of knock on my door and as I would to signal for Vernock to let me down.
He extends his hand, and the vines once again culminate to create a staircase.
I inform everyone that that amount of obsidian in an area like this is completely unnatural. It's certainly not from here. Not only that, it's incredibly complicated and difficult to work with, usually involving magic. I'm not saying that the orcs are incapable of this, but I think there might be other powers involved in this orc horde that we spotted.
Then we need.
Could the obsidian be coming from the portal itself?
I considered that, actually. It's definitely possible.
The orcs are just the material.
The obsidian could be coming from another plane, but that would explain how enough to build a whole tower.
And that quickly.
We probably need more information. I feel like we have to have a scouting mission here.
Yeah.
I think we do.
Do we have any way of faking a strongbow sigil?
I suppose we do have our prestidigitation,
That's incredibly
but
yikes.
it's risky.
Yeah.
Risky.
Good thing we're the risky rollers.
What do you need specifically?
Not that risky rollers.
I know. I'm sorry, I had to.
I agree with the scouting mission. I think we do need to recuperate our strength for a while. Again, we're going to have a full day before everybody is even assembled here.
What about illusory script?
I don't know what that means.
We can.
I can cast it on my parchment, and it will show whatever I want it to show, including a sigil of the Strongbow Empire.
How hard is that to maintain? Is it a concentration?
Nope. Duration's 10 days, and it's not concentration.
Well, we would definitely have to have some sort of reason for going in. I am not the sneakiest of the party.
And I would have. Here's the problem: is I would have to be involved. I have to be touching the parchment, and then I have to designate creatures that will appear that way too.
And you also need to remember that only the leader can read. The rest might not know what it means.
That is
It's a
true.
risk. I think probably just a normal scouting mission, as far as we can, is probably safer. But it is a risk we can't take.
I think that it would be a good kind of backup if we do get caught. Then we can at least have some sort of excuse as to why we were sneaking around. I'm not sure how much help I would be on the sneaking front. If anything, I could create a distraction somewhere else to make it a little bit easier for our more stealthy to investigate.
We risk,
But
if we,
it would be a risk.
any kind of
It's all a risk. It's an army.
any kind of distraction, like we're voluntarily admitting that there are other forces in this orcs. As far as we know right now, they don't know we're here, and that's
very true.
That is the best advantage we have right now, is that they don't know we're here.
Very true.
Or that we're coming.
Yep.
Yes, or that anybody's even figured out what they're doing.
So any scouting mission or anything, we are putting that at risk. But we also don't know anything about what we're going into. We're going in blind.
And let's get some insight.
I think we have to.
But first, we need to get some rest.
I agree.
It's not going to do any of us any good going into battle path. Health. If we were to get caught. These are orcs.
Then should the scouting party rest first so we can scout at night?
I think so. I think it makes the most sense.
We
We're not
definitely
all going.
I want all of us to go, but
absolutely. But I feel when it comes to getting as close as possible, due to my history of failed sneaks, including today, I would probably be better off hanging back unless I was needed, but I will be there.
I wouldn't say that they're failed sneaks, Tamarissa. You're just better at going head first in the battle, is all.
You flatter me.
Well, we
And
still
if
have.
we do need you, my message works up to 120 feet.
True.
So as long as I'm within range, you'll be able to hear me.
If anything, I can help from a distance, perhaps alert you to danger nearby.
And that would be quite helpful.
wait,
Veneros?
do we have the sending stone still?
We do still have the sending stones. We still have the sending stones, yeah?
No.
We do not.
Oh, we left him with.
Oh,
One of them was.
Wait, we did?
We don't know that, though.
Yeah. Okay, so Veneros is asking.
oh.
Yeah, we left one of them with Topsy and Turvy.
Veneros sort of scrunches up his face and says, "Okay."
Bizarre looks down at the ground.
Veneros says, "Okay, so right now we need." I don't want to split the group because the thing is,
No.
if one group gets caught, then
Mm-hmm.
They're
I'd rather
dead.
all of us or none of us get captured.
Agree.
Well, I think that there will probably be, in the moment, decisions that either I will be able to help or not help. But yes, no, we're all going together for sure.
Well,
We
yes.
also have Pass Without a Trace as well. That could
Do you
be-
have Pass Without a Trace?
The other thing
You have
is,
your...
it's going to be better to do this in the early morning, so we could literally go to sleep now and then
Yeah.
get up super
Really.
early in the morning and have the advantage of it being dark and in the dawn. We're not going to get lost. We have a ranger and a druid who grew up here. Like, we're not going to get lost in the forest in the early morning.
I'm not worried about that.
But thank you for your confidence.
So I say we rest now and wake up and move.
I think an early start is the best thing we're going to get. An incredibly early start.
Okay.
All right. So, what time are you all wanting to wake up?
It's like 6-ish now.
I would say like 4:30.
Okay, it's like 6:30 now, because you guys did spend time talking and whatnot. But we can say that you all are about to go to sleep. Are you all going to sleep now, or are you taking shifts?
I mean, we're surrounded by Trents. I think we'll be fine.
Frankly, if friends can't protect us, then we're going to be killed tomorrow anyways.
Bizarre would take a shift anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So,
Veneros is out.
okay, Veneris is in trance. Who else is going to sleep right now? Griff, Tamarissa, and okay, Daedrus, are you?
Daedrus will stay awake for this first bit.
Okay, and how about you, Bizarra?
She'd be up.
Okay, so you two are awake. The trees are just swaying. The rest of your party sleeps. Eclipse has also gone to sleep. And the night goes by without issue. But if you would like to say something to one another, please feel free to do so.
Is the moon showing through the trees?
You can see it, but it's being cloaked by the trees. It is a very thick forest.
Bizarre's gonna be staring at it every now and then.
Daedrus probably wouldn't really be saying anything tonight.
Okay. So the night goes by, And Veneros, you are now out of trance. Vizara and Datris, you guys are getting a little tired.
Just need
I think, yeah, Veneros will be up, but he's gonna be nervous. He would probably be like pacing.
Okay. So Veneros, you get up and you start pacing. Vizara, Datris, are you both asleep?
Yeah, they just would be asleep.
Okay.
Shara would watch Veneros for a little bit, and she would just say very quietly, take a deep breath. But then she would go to trance.
Okay. So Veneros, while you are awake, the night goes by without incident. You do hear little bits of life throughout the forest, some of the more night animals. And throughout your time of pacing, there were a couple of instances where you felt that like something might have been watching you. And one of the times when you turn around, you just saw one of the roses go back to being closed. But otherwise it goes out on without incident. And it is about 4 o'clock right now.
All right.
Okay.
I would wake up.
Yep, you would be awake now.
I'm up.
All right. So, I guess we're pretty familiar with the way there now, considering we walked there and back yesterday.
We have basic rations, right?
You have whatever you took when you left Gontalgrim.
They just have food for everyone.
I think Veneros would have like done like some rough very light, because it's gonna be a long day. That's like light breakfast preparations. So everyone.
Okay.
And he's nervous, so he doesn't know what else to do. So.
Okay. So you all wake up to breakfast being made by Veneros. I wish you had an apron, but I know you don't. But the breakfast is made.
Prestidigitation.
And you are all eating. Veneros, what did you prepare?
What are the rations we have?
They just had like dried meats, like sausages, jerkies, and like dried fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, so it would be like it would just be like little like fruit and meat plates. There wouldn't be anything like super complicated about it. Let me see if I had anything in mind. No, I don't. Yeah, so it would just be like and he has a couple loaves of bread that he's gonna use to make like almost like breakfast sandwiches, so they can eat on the go.
Awesome. All right, you guys have a whole spread and lunch to go with you.
No human jerky.
No human jerky.
You can make some orc jerky when we're finished.
But you are all currently eating your meal. You can let me know when you guys get up and get going.
Veneros would like when Datris waked up, he would always say, "I've always imagined giving you breakfast as soon as you wake up, but frankly, I wish it was under different circumstances."
It's just gonna stare at him and like blink once.
Here's your sandwich.
Shara's gonna blush a little bit. Even though it wasn't directed at her, she's just gonna blush over it.
Well, let me know how much you used, so you can keep track.
It would be a reasonable amount.
Okay.
We don't want anyone losing their lunch. Or breakfast, I guess.
Pre-breakfast. First breakfast.
Yes.
First breakfast.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So breakfast has been had, and you all gather your things and begin making your way towards where you were yesterday. Griff and Datris, because I assume you both are leading the way, go ahead and roll survival.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk next to Veneros so that I can kind of discuss what I'm thinking quietly.
Sounds good.
That's a 10. That's after +6 too.
I think I get advantage on this. I'm double checking.
Favored your terrain, so you should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's your favorite
alright.
terrain?
Double checking. Great. So that is a 16 with that.
All right. So you guys can very easily navigate your way back. Datris, you specifically spot some of the branches that were broken by you all yesterday walking through, memorizing the path. And you are now approaching the area where the tear was. And as you do approach, you can see that the earth that had been molded around it is falling apart and blackened.
Does it look like it's been disturbed, or it's just deteriorated?
It looks like it's been deteriorating.
Okay.
Maybe you should do another layer.
I mean, we're gonna have to deal with it at some point.
At some point isn't right now. We have something else we have to do.
That's fair. Tamara, so you want to talk about something, I think?
Yes. As far as battle or our strategy goes, DM, do we have like a map of what we saw yesterday, or a description? Is it?
So I'll give you guys another rough description. When you had first saw it, you saw a very tall black obsidian tower. Smoke was rising from the top, and surrounding the tower was a pit of fire. There are bridges going across this pit to connect to the tower. And surrounding this tower is an orc tribe. You remember seeing some of the orcs fighting off some of the lesser demons that you all had just fought earlier. But there is life going on amongst this tribe. They are cutting down trees and throwing them into the pit of fire that is surrounding the tower.
Okay.
How tall is the tower? Would we have known?
So, judging from your distance, you don't have an exact measurement, but from what you can tell, it looks to maybe be 60 stories tall. It's a tall tower.
So I assume that there's no trees like around where the orc army is camping out, right?
Correct.
Oh.
There are tents. There, you do remember seeing a pit. There, flags everywhere. It just looks like a tribe had taken up location there in terms of like what you saw amongst the orc tribe.
Is the space that's been cleared, is it round, or is it kind of just...
So it's kind of like, I'll draw it for you real quick. It's kind of like this. And just the squiggles are the orc tribe. So you have your tower in the middle, the fire pit, 3 bridges, and then all of this is the orc tribe surrounding it.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we have no idea what's actually in the pit
Or in the tower.
or in the tower.
If the army's not in the tower, and this is kind of me, I'm kind of talking out loud at Veneros, like while I'm kind of recapping what I saw yesterday and thinking about it.
Got it.
So the orc army is not in the tower, it's around the outside. So we definitely don't want to disturb any of them. Fingers crossed they are still resting.
There will be watches, but
Yes, but we will be being stealthy, pass without a trace, everything, pulling out all the big guns so we can be as stealthy as possible. Are we aiming to figure out what's going on inside the building?
I don't know if we can. I mean, if we see the opportunity to, I guess we could.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's what I'm thinking.
again, as far as we know, they don't know we're coming. So anything we do to jeopardize that is the worst thing we can do.
Well, maybe there'll be signs from the outside. I mean, from what we gather, it's sort of like a giant... They have to be building something, or
They have to be
in
building
there.
something.
It's almost like a giant engine. Yeah, they're throwing things into the pit. The smoke's coming out of the top. Whatever's going on in there is...
I could take up a gaseous form.
You can do that.
You can do that.
Yeah,
You can become smokes.
I can become essentially a
Well.
small cloud, I could probably creep along the ground that wouldn't look like anything other than fog along the floor.
Interesting. Well, if we get to an area, see, my thought is that if we do want to figure out what's going on inside the building, wherever the tree line from the trees that they've destroyed is going to be as close as we can get undetected without going out into the open.
Correct.
So perhaps when we're looking down, kind of from our vantage point that we saw yesterday, we can find a place where the forest comes, again, as close to the building as possible. And if it doesn't look like too big a risk to either go towards the building as a group or send Gaseous Griff towards the building as a cloud.
Gaseous Griff.
Like, as those words are coming out of my mouth, I'm just like, I never thought I'd be planning a battle using that, but you know,
That's how I fight all my battles.
with gas. Making sure there's nothing inside the building that could potentially add another layer of complication to what otherwise would be an awesome surprise attack that we are planning is probably for the best. But again, there might be signs from the outside. We might not even have to risk it. But I do think getting a good 360 building would be good.
I have disguise self spells.
Ooh. And things like that. And potentially, if we do get discovered by a guard, having something like you said, your script on hand might be helpful.
Yeah.
Or there's likely someone on patrol early in the morning. If we, I don't know, captured and killed one, we could take their armor and you could use your disguise spells to make somebody look like an orc.
My disguise self, I won't be able to wear it. It's just an illusion. But if I could see them, I could look like them.
Okay.
Don't forget that their parties are typically 10.
Yeah,
That might be a bit of a ruckus.
True. Speaking of parties, can I roll perception and make sure that we're not like standing in front of an orc horde right now listening to
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sure.
Good. Roll perception.
Or, you know, any trap holes in the ground.
It's not something like a party to me. All right, I'm gonna get a beer. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm going to as well. I need a refill.
Beer time.
That is a 16 for perception.
16?
So,
Okay, so looking around, because you guys are still in the area where the tear is, you don't see anybody amongst the trees or the shrubbery watching or listening. You don't even see animals nearby.
A shrubbery.
I would assume and hope that that's because Vernok kind of set out the call for creatures to stay away from that area or let them know what's up. Is that why there aren't any, or is it just because
It's barren, like everything here is dead.
Whatever you infer.
I like to think it's because he told everybody to stay away from this area. Plus, you know, there was a giant monster fight and a dead unicorn in this vicinity yesterday, so maybe just no one wants to hang out here. It's not the cool spot anymore.
Seems fair.
Okay. Cool.
So we should keep moving and make our way to the edge of the forest.
Okay.
Nearest the tower.
All right. Are you guys wanting to go to the same cliff side that you were at before, or are you trying to go down to the forest edge on the same level as this tower? Because last time you guys got more of an aerial view.
I'd rather have the aerial view.
Yeah, so we can check to see what the best vantage point would be.
Okay.
And then make our way down.
All right. So you guys venture back through that area, following Datris and Griff.
I'd
And
like to keep a lookout, particularly for any guards on the outside edge.
okay.
Yes,
Go ahead and roll perception. As you guys,
26.
26. Okay. So as you guys
22.
get there, wait, what?
22.
22. Okay. So as you guys get to this cliffside that you were at before, peeking over, kind of crawling on your stomachs to look over, you see that there is the ever-burning glow of the fire, and it gives an eerie uplit look to this black obsidian tower. Down below, you see other smaller fires lit amongst the orc tribe that has taken up residence there. and you see that they had recently constructed a smaller wooden tower. Seems to be a guard post from a higher vantage point. Not as tall as the cliff, but you do see that one has been constructed. There are 3 bridges that cross this fiery depth below, and some of them are currently dragging another tree in, and you hear the and then the billowing of smoke as it falls in. You do see from up here that there are a number of orcs circling, but not just orcs. They have wolves. And you can see that there is at least 3 different packs of 10 orcs, and each one seems to have 2 or 3 wolves. They are currently spread out, it seems, very evenly, and are circling the perimeter.
That may pose a problem.
I agree.
Because even if I can disguise myself, I'd still smell like me.
And the wolves might smell my gas.
Had to rip that one out, didn't you?
That I did.
Okay. How active is it? Like, are there lots of them awake? Does it look like, big orc party time?
It is not as active as it was last time you all saw.
Big orc party time.
That's the name of the stream, Big Orc Party Time. Just
Yes, that's the episode.
Great.
But the orcs that are circling seem to be the most active. Many of them are in tents, and you do see that there is a larger tent, significantly larger than the rest of them, that is kind of off towards the right-hand side, still within the circle. Mm-hmm. But there are also a number of orcs that are dragging in trees that have already been cut down, but they are within the circle. The most activity that you can see right now is the guards on duty.
Okay. And they're circling the perimeter?
Mm-hmm.
About how fast?
At a slow pace.
Okay. Again, they don't have any reason to suspect that anybody's really posing a threat against a giant orc army in the middle of the forest, so.
I can also go between small cracks and crevices, and I can pass through just about anything, including, the edge of a tent flap if I needed to. Or
Can you see while you're in your cloud form?
As far as I know, yes. This is
Mechanically, it would be really hard to make that work, but I couldn't see.
Yeah, like if you couldn't see, you couldn't really move. I have a flying speed of 10 feet. I guess that's mainly during combat, but occupy a space of another creature. Enter and occupy, that is.
You cannot enter and occupy a creature, but you can stay in the same space because you're just gas. And yes, you can see.
Does the target?
You cannot
enter?
speak.
Right. I know I can't speak. It says I can. The target can enter and occupy the space of another creature.
Yeah, but you can't occupy the creature. You can
Right.
stay in the same space. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Small holes and narrow openings, mere cracks. But liquids are like solids, so I can't pass through those.
What I noticed... Oh, wait, go ahead.
It would be really cool if you could turn into gas and go into the orc chieftains, get breathed in, and just bust out alien style.
like Ant-Man and Thanos.
Yeah. And Griff saves the day.
Or
I've thought
initiates
about
a
it.
massive fight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would be interesting to know what's going on in that tent. Perhaps it could give us some sort of insight as to what's going on inside the building without risking going past those flaming pits. Would I be able to see if there's any areas where the trees dip in, or is it a pretty even cut around the circle?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Oh. was a 15. It's
Okay.
not the worst.
So it's not even. Orcs are not that conscientious of making sure each side is evenly harvested. So there are divots in and out of the tree line. It's just a matter of which one you would like to pick.
Okay,
But
so
there are definitely multiple opportunities.
okay. So I suppose if we wanted to avoid the party roaming the outside, we would be best suited to pick a point and maybe pick a point like that they just pass and go down to that point so that we know we have the full amount of time that it would take them to walk around.
How tall are the trees?
The trees reach massive heights. They do vary in size, but I'd say that the tallest one is, oh man, sizes. I'd say about 100 meters tall.
Cool.
Dope.
Can you
That's
turn into a
insane.
squirrel?
Yeah. Of course.
Not to mention we have a ranger and we have a couple of very stealthy tree climbers already.
I can't
A
turn into a
squirrel?
tree.
But you can climb one.
Mazar says a
Try.
squirrel with a question mark.
What's wrong with squirrels?
No, what a
She doesn't
squirrel
know
is.
what they are.
Oh, I'm sorry. You'll find out.
That's comforting.
I don't think we can break the tree line. I think if we break the tree line, we're dead.
Okay.
I like Tamaris's plan though of like timing it so the closest we get is after someone has passed by. I like that plan a lot. Because once we're no longer moving, it's going to be harder to see us. Like those of us who may not like scale the tree to try and look in, we can like hide behind the tree and chill there. But the best time to get in position is going to be because movement is going to trigger their vision, right? Like it's easier to see something moving than it is to see something standing still. So if we wait
Agreed.
until they go by, then we can move. So I like that plan.
Okay. No. Not killing anything. That would be how there's 10 of them.
Should I be worried about squirrels?
No,
That's a
they're
problem.
small, furry creatures.
Unless
that
you leave your
are
food out, then.
Mostly harmless. They might eat your food, yes.
Vizara, they're completely messing with you. Squirrels are not to be trifled with. They are quite fearsome. Here, and I like put my arm around here. Come here. I'll keep you safe.
Mazar is just kind of gonna shrug that off and just like whip out a blade and she goes, I think I can handle a squirrel.
But they've got little teeth. They'll get you.
Okay, so I suppose looking around, I'm going to pick a point that I think would be, directly in front of us would probably be a good way to go because then we don't have, that eliminates a lot of movement. If the tree line is pretty jagged, then whichever tree is closest to us that dips in the most. So I would say looking down, I would think that that's pretty directly in front of us.
Okay.
But it's just ever so slightly to the left is where I kind of see the tallest, closest tree within the closest distance to where we're standing.
Okay. All right. So you have found your point.
Okaying that with the group, does this look like a satisfactory tree, Mr. Squirrel?
It's a perfect tree. By climbing the tree.
It would be good if you did.
At the mention of squirrel, you just hear chink from like a dagger just suddenly like flicking into Mazar's hand and her just like,
So this is where you guys are going.
Okay.
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 Dangerous, how do you feel? Do you feel this is a good spot? You're like a ranger after all.
This works for me.
Okay, I figure when we get to the tree, maybe it would be a good idea to have you turn into a squirrel and climb it and see what you can see from up there. And then maybe Datris, if you wouldn't maybe mind following up, maybe halfway up, because you're quite stealthy and maybe you could see something with your elf eyes.
I can try my best to find out what my elf eyes see.
I will stay firmly on the ground.
As will I.
All right. So you guys make your way to the small, well, not the small, but the outcropping of trees that Tamara had pointed out, go ahead and roll stealth checks for me.
Okay.
No, we don't.
28.
You know how your dice
16.
do that thing where they wobble for a split second? Mine wobbled between the 1 and the 19 and landed on the 19, thank God.
Oh my god.
That's a non-nat. Oh wait, that's 26, but like my heart was scared.
Yeah, that is scary.
Rip rolled a 17.
Okay.
Nice.
It's gonna be a 12 from Veneros.
Okay.
I feel like Vanero hasn't said anything.
Veneros died.
The new
But so-
shot immediately in the face.
Yeah.
A squirrel got them.
Yeah, squirrel got him. So, you all being very stealthy, at least from what you know, you arrive at this outcropping and you are now in position there next to a very tall tree on ground level with this orc tribe. And you can see that they have wooden spikes pointing out towards people who would be approaching. There is no wall, but there
Good
is.
to know. The spikes.
Mhm.
Making a mental note of that.
There is no wall per se, but there are tents, there are pits. You see that there are large dire wolves like in the distance that are tied up, possibly as mounts. And you are seeing ahead that there is a group that is about to be in front of all of you as they are walking. They're about to pass you.
I'd
Okay.
cast Pass Without a Trace over all of us.
Okay, so you can all add plus 10 to your next stealth roll.
I sort of like snap my fingers and I like motion everyone to get behind the tree.
Okay.
I listen.
All right.
Behind.
You all pile behind this very thick, girthed tree, a girthy tree. You can all go ahead and roll another stealth check for me as this group passes by.
Plus
Mine
10,
just
right?
did that wobble thing between the 1 and the
plus 10.
19, too.
Did you get a 1?
No, I got a 19, fortunately, so that is a 39.
Nice.
I rolled a 12, so plus 10, that's 22.
Nice.
18.
Okay.
28 for Daedrus.
Vanera, she hasn't said anything.
That's a 30 from Veneros.
Oh, wow. All right. So, y'all know that you were stealthy this time around as the dogs don't even point their nostrils in your direction. But you can see there are 10 hulking orcs. And as they walk, you can see that they are ranging in weapons from giant battle axes to large bows made out of spines. The dogs are not leashed and instead walk alongside these orcs. You can see that they have gash marks along them, clearly being trained in a very specific way to do what they are supposed to do.
I
Two of the
said
orcs.
one orc specifically.
Okay, good to know. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
You said that they had spikes facing outwards and wolves chained up. Was there something else that you said?
Lots of tents, fire pits, but there's not a lot of life going around. A lot of them are still asleep currently.
Can we
It's
see
like
the
a camp.
largest tent from where we are?
You can see the tops of it.
Okay.
Okay.
18.
18. Okay, you got a pretty good grasp on one of them. This one is a female orc. She's got a mohawk going on, each sides of her head shaved, long, long braids, and inside of her ears you could see thick gauges, and the jewelry that is inside of there are very thick stones. Got a long underbite with 2 tall tusks with jewelry on each end, and she walks with a bit of a swagger as she holds her bow made out of a spine. They also hold lanterns as they walk around, and after analyzing this orc, they walk out of the way, and you currently see their backs.
I motion for everybody to wait until they're, good
Out of
distance
range.
away, before kind of motioning to Griff to shapeshift into a squirrel and climb the tree. And then Datris to follow. And I'm going to suggest to Veneros and Bizarre and myself to kind of stay low, but see what we can see from our vantage point too. Obviously, we've seen the spikes and all that. So, any other battlements? Good.
I walk over to Bizarra, then I immediately turn into a squirrel.
Okay. So I'm just gonna look down and just be like, "What's that?"
You see a gray squirrel, because your hair color is gray, but this squirrel also has a very long beard, and it just kind of looks up at you with its bushy tail, and you see a little squirrel Griff.
Then I immediately climb up her leg, her back, and leap off the top of her head into the tree.
Okay. And you do, and you jump, and you climb on, and you start to scuttle up this tree. Go ahead and make acrobatics.
Quite fearsome, aren't they, Bizarre?
Squirrel, don't fail me now.
I didn't know any better. I believe all of you were pulling my leg.
What did you roll?
That's a nat 1.
Okay, so you jump off of Vizara's head,
Oh, no.
and instead of latching onto the tree, you fall short. So it's one of those, and you fall on your stomach.
When that
My eyes
squirrel
get really,
running
really
for the
wide.
next tree and it leaps, but it's like not making it, so it's just like this as it goes down.
Yeah, you fall to the ground in a noise with a little bit of a thud. Because you're a squirrel falling from that height,
Oh no!
you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage falling.
Ow.
Yeah, I rolled really high. The highest I could on that die.
I kind of gather myself and look around fairly embarrassed, and then slowly
also
make my way up the
imagining-
tree.
As
Okay.
Griff is falling, that's when Venera says, "Quite fearsome creatures, aren't they?"
Yep.
Go ahead and make another acrobatics check, Griff, as you climb, this time from the bottom of the tree.
That's a 7. Gosh.
All right, it's okay, but you are a squirrel, so you climb up this tree. It's been a while since you've been in squirrel form, so it takes you a little bit longer than it normally would. But how high are you going up?
I'd imagine to the top to see as much as I possibly could.
Okay, so you're going all the way up to the top. All right, at the very top of this tree, looking down and being a squirrel. Actually, wait a second. Oh, no, I think that's just... Okay, yeah, never mind, you're fine. Getting to the top of this tree, looking down, you see what you all saw before on the cliffside. You see the tent, the larger one, and the embers lighting up from the fire pit surrounding the tower. But aside from that, you don't see anything different than what you all have previously discerned.
That's what I was afraid of.
It's the same.
It's the same. I'm just gonna make my way back down and change back.
Okay, you manage to do so, and you get down and appear as Griff.
Wild shape for that.
There are a couple of leaves in your hair from climbing down the tree. But
I tell them I didn't see anything that we already couldn't discern from the cliff top.
Did you have a good look at the tower?
It's a tower. Like I really couldn't discern anything else about it other than it's an obsidian tower.
Well,
Should I attempt to infiltrate the main tent?
yikes. That's dangerous. How does this gaseous form work?
I guess technically I could cast it on anyone, but you transform a willing creature you touch, along with everything it's wearing and carrying, into a misty cloud for the duration, which is an hour. The spell ends if the creature drops to 0 hit points and incorporeal creature isn't affected. While in this form, the target's only method of movement is a flying speed of 10 feet. The target can enter and occupy the space of another creature. The target has resistance to non-magical damage. It has advantage on strength and dexterity and constitution saving throws. The target can pass through small holes, narrow openings, and even mere cracks. Though it treats liquids as though they were solid surfaces, the target can't fall and remains hovering in the air when stunned or otherwise incapacitated.
What if we send a treant in instead of Griff?
I don't think the trees would want to risk sending anybody else towards those burning pits.
Could put quite a dent into the tower.
Just gaseous form a Trent and send him in. Then he'd just like appear. Could maybe take out the leader, but
Maybe not for right now, but that is
Definitely
something to keep
die.
on the back burner for when we're planning our battle.
I like it in
Yeah.
terms of like gathering info. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Really good idea.
So, are we risking him doing it now?
Well, hold on.
Maybe not quite now.
I love Griff, but I don't know if he's the one I want to send on a stealthy recon mission.
this is true.
And if it can be cast on anyone, I'd rather it go on Daetrys or Vizara.
I agree.
Okay, just take the breath.
You better hold it.
Like, we've seen like the bigger tent, right?
Yes, you have seen
How
the bigger
far
tent.
away from us? Is it?
If you guys are here, the tent is about right there.
It's not that far.
Okay.
So it's not, yeah, you're right. It's not that far. You'd probably have to go through about 50 meters deep of Orc Tribe life.
Easy.
Yeah.
It
You're
is.
just gonna be like an orc fart floating around.
Just act like fog.
We're gonna pass right through this.
And I should mention, by the way, that the sun is starting to rise. You can see that colors are starting to change in the sky. Not saying that, it's 7, but it's definitely crusting
the
6 o'clock.
If we're gonna do it, we need to do it now.
I think it's worth the risk to make sure there's nothing in that tent that could potentially deal any more damage or give us an idea of what's going on inside.
Maybe overhear something.
Don't want to be rushed by a tower dragon at the last minute, so. All right, I think it's worth the risk. Bizarro, Daetrys.
I have no problem going.
Vizara it is.
Zara, go.
All right, so you are looking through the tent for any signs of anything going on inside. Listen up. Let us know if you hear anything. This is strictly an in and out mission.
Look for plans or anything like that. Like if
Yes.
some clue as to what they're doing.
Indeed.
All right. Are you ready?
Never turned into gas before, so I guess I'll find out.
It's quite an experience.
You do see, by the way, I should let you know, the other group of 10 is coming closer.
Okay.
So get behind the tree.
I'm behind the tree.
Okay. Everyone go ahead and roll stealth.
It lasts for an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you still have plus 10.
Ooh, thank goodness for that. 26.
All right.
21 for Griff.
27 for David.
14 for Tamarosa.
Okay.
Could have been worse. Definitely could have been worse.
It's okay. These are group stealth checks. So, all right. So this group, you see one of the hounds just, and then go back to walking. And about 2 minutes goes by before you see their backs.
About how long did it take them to get around? I estimate we probably would have been taking note.
Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
That was probably about 10 minutes. Turning the controls.
Nervous.
That's a natural 20.
All right. You know
yeah.
to the T that it took them 32 minutes.
Shit.
All right.
quite some time.
It is a rather large
Yes,
area of land.
unfortunately. Okay.
So I guess I'm gonna cast this now.
All right.
I guess so.
I
Oh
do.
God.
All right.
Cast gaseous form on Zara.
It starts from her toes as she suddenly, in a genie-like fashion, wisps out. And at first you see the colors of her, which is rather grayscale, but then it turns into a white fog. It's
Just-
Zara.
Stay low.
Yep. Stay low.
It's all you.
I feel weird talking to a cloud. It's a little.
The cloud form kind of waves, and then upon the word "stay low," it just kind of flattens out.
All right.
And
Hover
I'm trying
across
to make myself look sparse and not uniform. And I just kind of weave my way in and out between the grass blades.
All right. And you do. Making your way throughout closer towards the spikes that are pointed your way. You're lying low amongst the grass. And as you get past the spikes, you see that there are a number of tents, torches lit outside. You see on spikes the heads of not just orcs, but some humans. You see dried up black sludge, assuming that maybe this is where they mounted some of the demon heads before they turned into the goo. And making your way through, knowing your destination, you see a large tent with tribal pattern prints of reds and browns. Going up to it, you go in through the flap, which you see before entering. There is light going on inside. And upon entering this tent, you see a rather large space. There is hide rugs all across the ground. In the center of the room, you see an orcish woman. And this woman is sitting crisscross, arms out, as she moves her body as such. Her eyes are rolled backwards in her head. And you can see that she has a purplish gray-like skin. Jazara, do you speak Orcish?
I do not.
So you do not know the words being uttered. But you see this Orcish woman doing these motions, and behind her you see a large Orcish male. He sits there on a chair made out of bone and hide, watching this woman in front of him. On his right-hand side, you see another orc that looks as if he's been stretched by the hands of gods themselves. He's very lanky. The one in the chair has a mohawk going back, long hair that's braided and beaded, covered in tribal tattoos on both of his muscular arms. On his back, he has an open chest getup with a large hided cloak with fur that you might assume might be a wolf, but you're only assuming that based off the beast that you've seen. He wears shoes as well as a giant rock skull. Well, sorry, you wouldn't know this is a rock. A giant bird skull with feathers protruding from his shoulder. And on his back, a great axe that is made out of bone and stone. You see that this orc is missing his left eye, and his right eye is blood red. And he has huge gauges with smooth rocks in them as earrings. The woman that is moving around on the ground has tattoos as well. Long black beaded braids, and it is just covering her from head to toe in tattoos. The gauges in her earrings are that of animal skulls, and she has 3 bone piercings going through her nose at the top. She wears robes and has very long fingers with long nails lined with rings. And even though you are in gaseous form, you can approach and you can smell the scent of old meat on her breath. You see on the left side of this tent are 2 other male orcs that seem to just be watching. And then on the other side, you see 3 female orcs sitting and watching this one in the middle. She stops and opens her eyes. It is very clear to you that she is blind. They weren't just rolled into the back. She stops and you hear, and you hear her speaking in some sort of foreign tongue. The tongue is repeated throughout the room by many individuals, and the one that is sitting in the chair, the bulbous orc, muscular, stands up and walks over to the side, and you see he's pouring himself some liquid before taking a big gulp and sitting down. Please tell me what you do.
Is there any way I can use message to send back to the group?
I don't believe you can cast spells while in gaseous form.
Okay.
Or you could certainly try.
Zara is going to make herself very thin and just send parts of herself to go up through the crease of the tent up to the top so she could peer down over the table.
Okay, so there's a table in the back, but in the center of the room, it's just rug and hide. And the woman that was moving around as such is sitting in the middle. She stands up and then turns to face the giant hulking orc that had just drank. And they are discussing something in orcish tongue. From the upward vantage point, actually, looking down, you can see that the woman, as she was sitting, there are lines of beads around her forming the sigil of Grumsh that you all saw earlier on the flags. And it is filling up this entire room as she was in the middle. But they are just speaking to one another now.
Zara's gonna make herself thinner to help keep attention off of a gaseous form being in the room, and she's gonna go and peer over the table.
Okay, so you want to go look at the table?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep creeping through the ceiling.
So looking at the table, you can see that there are various meats and seems to be ales atop it, even a glass of wine made out of some put together tankard from wood. You can see that there are papers on the table that are written in Orcish.
Can I memorize any of the letters or words?
You can certainly try. You don't know what they mean. I'd say make an intelligence check. It's going to be a high DC because this is like trying to memorize like a foreign language that's more of an artistic goal.
That is a 17.
You think you have some memorized? Don't know if you'll be able to copy them to paper.
Okay. Could I at least determine whether it looks like words that I'm memorizing or just letters?
Hard to tell. This is a foreign language to you.
Noticing that Zara is going to see if she can use her knowledge of telepathy to see if she could possibly read the blind woman's or blind orc's mind.
So telepathy is more of a language. To people with telepathy, I would have to be able to speak, and you're not getting any responses. Looking at this woman, you could see though that she's very decorated, very clearly a magic user. The two male orcs that are in the back are also holding goblets as well as a piece of paper, and the other three women orcs are just sitting there staring at the woman who is now still speaking to the very muscular orc.
Anything that looks like battle plans, maps?
Go ahead and roll investigation.
17.
17. So looking around and flying around carefully in your gaseous form, you can see that there are just tons of words written in Orcish. You do see what you assume is a drawing of a forest. It's very crudely drawn. And continuing to move around, you see that the paper that the two male orcs are holding, you know for fact that that is a drawing of a blade, of a sword.
Do I recognize the blade or the hilt, to be exact?
No, you wouldn't. Well, actually, roll investigation or intelligence. Roll intelligence.
Bizarra doesn't know. She rolled a nat one.
Okay. So yeah, you have no idea, but you do know for a fact that that is a sword, a blade.
What are the three females there for? So she's gonna slink around behind them and kind of look where they're looking, just to determine whether they're there just to learn or if they're just there.
Okay. So crouching down in your gaseous form, kind of at eye level, you are kind of gauging based off of the direction of their heads, and you can see that they are looking at this woman and giving her another once over. You see that she has tons of baubles and jewelry around her, all beaded. Most of it prehistoric jewelry, though. She doesn't wear gold and silver. She wears clays and rocks that have been finely crafted. She is clearly very old. And looking at them now, you can see that she, although blind, is looking up at this tall, muscular orc. And he leans down and he grabs her face and he gives her a kiss before pushing her off and then gesturing for her to go. She turns and leaves and starts to leave, and the three stand up and turn and walk out with her.
Star's gonna stick by just a little bit longer to see what the males do.
Okay. So waiting until they leave the tent, the two males stand up and are speaking with the tall one. The lanky one is just sitting there watching and listening. He hasn't said much, but after you could tell things are starting to get heated in this discussion, the lanky one comes over and seems to have calmed down whatever it is they are arguing about and discussing. One of the two males turns the paper around the drawing and points towards it, and it seems he's speaking about what's on the paper, the drawing.
She's got to look at that paper again to notice any movements or if they're pointing towards anything, even though she doesn't understand verbally.
They're just referencing the page. You assume they're referencing the drawing, as that's all that is on. But nothing specific about the blade, like not the quillion or the handle or the sheath, nothing like that, just it in general. Actually, go ahead and make an investigation check.
I think that's a 15, if I remember correctly. Yep, that's a 15.
Okay. So kind of like honing in on this paper, you can make out, this isn't written in Orcish, but you see the words AKTA written in common.
AKETA?
AKTA.
Okay. And that's it? That's all that's written in common?
Yes, everything else is Orcish in it, and there, I mean, on that page, that's it, and then there's the drawing of the sword, but then everything else is written in Orcish.
Zara is gonna slowly kind of gather herself back up towards the exit stealthily.
Okay.
And again, just try to disperse herself in irregular patches so she doesn't look like a form, but more so just like some mist or fog.
Okay. Go ahead and roll stealth.
32.
Okay, yeah. So very easily, you make your way out as if you were never even there. You are currently outside of the tent.
What's going on around me outside the tent?
You can see that orcs are starting to awaken. The sun is rising. There is more color in the sky, especially in this general area. You especially know, based on very recent experiences, that even though you are in gaseous form out here, this sunlight could affect your eyesight. But there are orcs that are waking up, some coming out of their tents, stretching, and you see that there are some other dogs that are out and about. One of them is very particularly looking in your direction. And for a brief moment, it catches your heart before an orc walks right through you towards this dog and starts to pet the dog.
Seeing that, I'm going to cautiously back further away, and I'm going to start heading towards where the bridges are.
Okay. I should let you know, by the way, an hour is almost up, but you're making your way towards the bridges.
How much time do I have?
Make an intelligence check.
19.
19. You probably have 20 minutes.
Zara's gonna slink her way towards the pits and just kind of mimic steam coming out of the fire and slink into the tower.
Okay, so you go into the pits and it is hot, and you're looking for a means of getting in the tower, but you don't see one.
None at all.
None at all. Are you circling the whole time? I mean, you said that you went into the pit and then tried to go under.
Tower quickly.
Huh?
Let me circle the tower quickly, and I think if with the steam, I might be able to move a little quickly without having to worry too much about stealth if I look like steam.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you're circling around the tower. There comes to a point at one of the bridges, the one on the far side, where you see that etched into the tower seems to be writing. Do you speak primordial?
No, but would I recognize that as being primordial?
You wouldn't.
Even if I saw it in the dungeon of Grontelgrim?
That's true. You did see it in the dungeon. Did people tell you it was primordial?
Don't know if anybody told me.
Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
And that would be a 23.
So you're aware that this is primordial, but you can't understand it. You also see that there is a tiny black rectangle underneath it, and it looks as if that goes inside the tower.
Just a tiny black rectangle.
A tiny black rectangle. Don't do it.
Zara is gonna go to the tiny black rectangle.
All right. You go inside the black rectangle, and we're going to cut to everybody else.
I don't like that.
What are you guys doing during this time? Tyler in the background.
Veneros is hiding as much as he is. Yeah. He's
Okay.
He doesn't like this. This is not Veneros' thing.
Okay. So, because there were a number of people that went by, can I have each of you roll a stealth? This will count as this whole hour.
God.
Okay.
We still have passes out of trace.
Yes, you do.
Not that mattered with that roll, but
That's me.
Not for you, yeah.
It's an 18 for me.
Okay.
Same, 18 for Griff.
All right.
Oh, 27 for me.
Nice. So you guys go by unnoticed.
that was a 36 for Datris. I didn't get to say it, but I want to brag.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, as soon as you were like, it doesn't
Nice.
matter for that roll, I was like, she probably got a nat 20 or a 19 or something.
I got a 19.
Yeah. So during this time, are any of you saying or doing anything?
No, Veneros is like he might like. He's like playing with grass on the ground. Like he is behind the tree and he is not moving.
All right.
Tamarissa would definitely just be like scoping out like watching them wake up, kind of getting their routines, kind of matching up the time with what they're doing and their activities, I guess. And thinking about the time.
Okay. Go ahead and roll intelligence. You already know that each group, it's taking them anywhere between 32 and 33 minutes. And it seems that the first group that passed by you, they're the ones who take 33 minutes to get by based off of your last roll. But go ahead and make another one to see what else you can infer.
Nothing at all. 5.
Okay, nothing. Veneros is playing with grass, and that's kind of cool.
Veneros hates this. He does not like this.
So, if you guys aren't doing anything else, you notice that it has been over an hour. And Vizara, as you go through this hole, you come into a room, and all that you see is mist, just fog. And it is in that moment that you feel something change inside of you, and you bring up your hand and you don't see your hand. And you bring it closer and now you see it. But there is nothing but fog, and this fog is moving.
Why did we go into the black? Red?
Party. Party. What are you doing? It has been over an hour.
Ah, shit.
No. I know this.
I love it.
I do not love this.
If she turns back into
She has.
she turned back
Yeah,
into
because it's been over an hour.
Vizara, that she can talk to us again.
If she's within
Are you guys within 120 feet?
I think so, because the tent was only 50. What do you say, 50 feet away?
50 meters.
That's like over 150 feet.
Well,
We're not.
But I have to make the contact first. You guys can't talk to me unless I make the contact first.
And we're not in range anyways. And I mean, at this point, Veneros is gonna be like pulling grass like out of the ground. And he's just gonna say, I mean, we can't just go charging in, the four of us.
we can't, and there hasn't been any commotion, so she hasn't been discovered.
I don't think we can make that call.
I told her it was an in and out mission. Those were my words.
We have to wait on the Trents to arrive.
Yes, we can't do anything without the truck. But we don't even have the information. We don't even have.
We don't know what we're facing. We don't even know if she got caught. Or if she's still in there somewhere.
If she's not caught already, she's in a situation where she can't get back to us.
DM, did I have a clear idea of the map of how the layout was and how far the bridge goes?
You have an idea. It's not clear. You didn't do the whole camp. You did to the tent, across the bridge to the tower, under it, and then you started to go around.
How long was the bridge precisely?
The bridge was about 25 yards. By the way, if anyone hasn't noticed, all of my measurements are in pool terms. So like I measure everything.
Did notice that because you know that we know 100 meters like what that is.
Exactly.
Is it a 50-meter pool or a 25-yard?
Exactly. That's how I do all my measurements now. But continue. So you would know it's about a 25-yard bridge.
Zara's gonna send out a message to the group. Hello?
There is no response. And you all don't get a ping. And Vizara, being in this space, you don't know why, but you've never felt so alone. So very alone.
Dun dun dun.
Zara's
I'll
gonna
let
start.
you guys decide real quick, by the way, because this is, do you guys want me to do what your group is doing right now, or what Vizara is doing first? You guys tell me what you want me to
because I
tackle.
don't know what Daetrys would be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Freaking the fuck out.
Honestly, all we can
So,
do is
do you want me to do Vizara first?
It was
Yeah.
first. We
They're
gotta
not coming here without us. Like we're a recon mission. We have to go back there
We
and
have
tell
to
them
go back. Yes, we do.
they're not coming to us.
Oh, I thought they were coming
No.
here.
We
I
have
thought
to.
were
We have to
scouting.
go. Yeah, we're scouting, and we're gonna talk. We gotta bring back the information. We can't wait around.
Zara is gonna curl up into herself, and she's gonna cast non-detection on herself.
Okay. Can you tell me what that does?
This is a bit of a long shot, but I can hide a target with my touch from divine magic. So it could be a willing creature, a place, or an object no larger than 10 feet in any dimension. The target can't be targeted by divine magic or perceived through magical sensors.
Okay. Okay, good to know. So, Vizara, as you curl up into yourself, you feel stone against your back, or rather, obsidian. And this just feeling of alone and wanting to be alone just overcomes you. And you take a moment to look up in your surroundings, and you see the fog start to take on an image. Staring at it, you see smoky visuals of Kaluth being killed by Kazna. You see it over and over again. The final blow, the final blow. And as you watch this over and over again, your fate slowly becomes Kazna's, and you see yourself in this smoky visage killing Kaluth. You see yourself allowing Kaluth to take the fall, to take the blame. And eventually, it's not just your face that is Kazna, it is you. And this feeling of alone comes over you again. And Vizara, you take 1 point of psychic damage.
Do I acknowledge this damage?
You feel this damage.
Bizarre is gonna start shaking her head, and she's just gonna mutter, "I gotta get out of here." And she's gonna close her eyes and try to visualize the bridge as clearly as she can.
Okay.
Do I have to roll anything for that?
No, you're just trying to visualize the bridge, and you have an image in your head, but it doesn't appear.
Taylor,
Do you guys hear that?
Is someone trying to break into your house? What?
I'm gonna go check what that is. One second.
Yeah, you should go check.
You guys hear that, right?
Yeah, we.
Yeah.
Please don't die on camera.
Do you have take something heavy?
Yeah, I would take some.
Matt?
Oh god, I might have an idea of what it might be. Of something Taylor's told me in the past.
My next door neighbors are doing construction, I guess.
That's
Which is
not
weird
what I-
because it's an apartment. So you have an image of this bridge in your head, but nothing happens. So, group, we will cut to you real quick. What are you guys doing?
Beatrice is searching the sky for giant eagles.
Go ahead and roll perception.
Griff is going to cast detect plants and animals.
You are in a forest and you detect tons of plants and
I'm looking for I have to name something specific. I forgot about that.
okay. I was gonna say
Not one looking for
Where
a
is it?
giant eagle.
Locate animals or plants. I'm looking for fox.
a fox. Okay. Roll your D100, 50 and above. A fox is nearby. 49 and below, it is not.
It just rolled a nat 1 looking for eagles, so I'm assuming she doesn't see any eagles.
There are no eagles.
D100, it's like the 2D8s.
D10s.
Yeah, so you're 2D10.
Right.
So yeah.
Do green is like the
Spoopy.
20, and this is the one's place. 18. Perfect.
18. So there are no foxes nearby.
I suppose Tamaris's mind would be running at 1,000,000 miles an hour trying to figure out what to do next because we can't leave here. We can't go back to them without the information, really. I mean, we can, based off what we've seen between the four of us, but she's sort of also battling an anger because of, being concise with her plan. And whenever her plan goes off the rails, how she is about decision making. So I would probably approach Veneros, pulling blades of grass out of the ground. And just ask him what he thinks we should do.
We can't do anything here. We can't do any good here. I mean, if she gets out, and we'll run into her again when we come back. But the longer we're here, the longer we risk us getting caught. And we can't help her if we're caught too. We can't go charging in. We don't even know where she is.
Well, I suppose perhaps 3 of us could head back and one of us could wait here and see.
I could get back the fastest on my own. If y'all pull away from the tree line and wait, that way you can see if anything else develops. I can shapeshift and get back much faster.
He has a point.
Yeah. We could pull back to the cliff face, or we were originally watching everything to begin with, so we can see everything from above. That way, if there's any commotion, not that we could really do anything to aid Bizarro, but perhaps
We can at least keep an eye out and we'll feel better
keep an
about
eye
it.
out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I say we pull back to the cliff face. Griff, why don't you head back as stealthily as possible and let everybody know what we've seen so far, and as soon as we know something, who's the next stealthiest? Probably Datris.
Yeah.
Or either of the two of you could head back with more information.
With that, I turn into a large stag and leap away. I'm gone.
Okay. Griff, you are taken off. All right.
Don't get
So
eaten.
Yeah. Fortunately, he's at least knows his way back pretty damn well. So
We're just splitting the party a ton.
It's me too.
oh my god. Okay.
So, we'll go with the three of you first. What are you guys doing? Are you just waiting?
We're just waiting. We make our way back to the cliff face where we were, staying low.
Okay. Go ahead and make stealth checks.
Do we have pass without a trace or no?
Oh,
Go on.
No.
no.
14.
They just rolled a nat 20 on that one, thank God. Unless we get a 2.
What did Tamara
Rolled a
roll?
7.
Do you have a modifier?
No, I
7?
don't have her. Yeah.
Yikes. We die.
As you all start to walk away, you hear a and Tamara, so you step on a branch that had fallen when when Griff had previously fallen down as a squirrel. And you pause and you hear a and looking behind over your shoulder, you can see that there is a hound, a wolf, a pack, a party that has been approaching that is looking in the general direction of you all. They are on alert, but nobody has seen you.
Okay.
Sneak away, sneak away.
All right.
Yeah, just
Continue to sneak.
try to get out of there. We can't take on a freaking camp.
All right, so you guys scuttle away, and you go back to the cliff top. And looking down, you can see that the sun has risen. There's now a golden glow across this camp. It's the start of the next day, and we are going to cut to Griff. Griff, you are bounding through this forest.
Look at it.
And as you are, you can see that there are a number of animals that start to bound along that direction with you. And before you know it, you are kind of surrounded by a number of other animals that are following you, a great stag, throughout the forest.
I'm going to use speak to animals
Okay.
to tell them all to disperse and tell any Trent they see that my friend has been captured, for all I know, and we need to gather at
They're not coming towards the tower.
Okay.
the edge of the forest, at the cliffside. I thought we were gathering
Beast.
the Trent.
Tell me, Griff, Tamaris and them aren't there, so you say
I know.
what you thought. So
Yeah, no,
what did you think?
I said that the Trents need to gather at the edge of at the cliffside
Okay.
near the tower.
You say this, and being a great stag, a lot of the smaller animals go and dart. There are some deer that look at you confused, but go off anyway, and you see that the forest is dispersing as you charge through. It takes you about an hour to get back to the grove, but you see that there are already 13 treants that are there just standing, seeming to be waiting for the rest of the grove to arrive. But you approach, and Vernock, who you always would recognize, turns and sees the stag. And the stag, by the way, has this long gray beard.
I grunt in a as a stag would. I'm assuming he can understand it.
Yes.
And tell him that Fizar is likely captured within the camp, so we weren't able to get much reconnaissance. But we knew there are many orcs, a large black tower, and there seems to be one tent in particular that's larger than the others. We assume the leader is inside.
There is only one, two,
And Vernock starts to count. Takes him a good
17 of us.
There's how many?
17.
I sent the rest of the forest animals I encountered on my way here to tell the rest of the Trents they saw to gather at the cliffside. I'm not sure if they'll listen, but
You want us to go now?
I suppose I was thinking rashly, but it seemed like the only choice I had.
So you're asking him to go now.
Yes.
Fernok turns towards the Treants, and he speaks to them in Treant and says,
Defend your home and the homes of others.
and the Treants start to follow Fernok as he starts to walk in the direction that he remembers was the cliffside that you all were on, but you have 17 Treants. That these are like the ones that were closer by in the grove that are currently walking towards the cliffside.
We can't just.
So we're gonna cut that, and we're gonna go back to Vizara. Vizara, all this just happened. You feel a ping in your head, and you just can't help but feel so isolated and so alone.
Despite that feeling, Bizarre is going to start looking for the hole in the tower again.
Okay, feeling around. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Ooh, 6.
You do not feel a hole.
Well, she's going to keep doing it because that's all what she wants to do right now is see if she can see outside.
So feeling around, you just start to, you not only know that that fog is going on behind you, that image, but you can see it in your peripherals on both sides. The fog is you becoming Kazna, killing Kaluth. And you take another 2 points of psychic damage. A time goes by. Tamarissa, Datris, and Veneris, what are you guys doing?
We're just laying low and waiting.
No, I don't think Veneros can just like sit there and do nothing while this
All
happens.
right, what are you going to do?
I think Veneros is going to start. We can see it, right? We can see like the camp and everything.
We can see
Yes, you
everything.
can.
Yeah.
You're on the cliffside.
Then I am going to start looking for maybe places that are weaker. And I'm also working on trying to isolate the timings of the guards to try and figure out like either when they change shift, when they will leave a spot open for a time. Looking at even like, eating patterns to see if like there is a time that there is a distinct gap and breaks and something of that nature.
Okay, so it's been about an hour, another hour. So go ahead and make an intelligence check.
Come on. Ooh. I'll take that. That is a 21.
21. So it's only been an hour, but you can see that the 3 groups of 10 all and 3 other groups of 10 each have come to replace those and the hounds before they go back in and the circle continues. So they stop, and it takes about 10 minutes for the next group of 10 to come and replace that 10 and then to switch in. It seems that they eat when they want. And from this vantage point in studying them, you did see another group of 10 go out into the forest and come back with a rather large owl bear just hooked up to a rod that they've hunted in the forest and are bringing back. Seems that they eat when they want to, and there's people that go and fetch it. Because it is a far distance, you're not able to discern specific orcs,
Yeah.
but you do see in this pit that there are 2 wolves fighting and a couple of other orcs surrounding. You would be able to understand that they might be betting on a wolf fight, a form of entertainment. No one has come in or out, and there are other groups of 10 that are bringing the trees that they have cut down into the fiery pit. It seems that they move around in groups of 10. And with that number, you could see that this tribe is probably around the 150, 160. They might have grown. Not overnight, but based off of when Datris had last saw them, they might have grown. Not significantly, but there's definitely more than 100.
Okay. Datris,
Yeah.
those wolves don't seem to be treated well. Do you think there's any way we could use them?
Well, Griff can speak to animals, so he might be able to help, but I'm not sure. If they've tamed the beasts, then they've tamed the beasts, and there's not much we can do.
That's fair.
Tamarissa would probably be just hawk-eyeing the building to see if there's any commotion going on around it. Literally, as far as I know, she went into the tent, and that's the last that I saw of her. But I'm checking to see if she's been escorted into the building. If I see anybody, do I see anybody actually going in and out of the building?
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
That's a 7. I need.
You don't see anybody going in or out of the building. By this point, you 3 would start to hear the of the treants behind you, and you turn and you see a stag approach, as well as 17 treants, a couple of deer, some rabbits, a number of foxes, a weasel or 2, as well as a bear, some boars. But you see natives of the forest and 17 treants.
Little trees.
Tamarissa would probably turn and stare Griff in the face and be like, "Why did you bring them here?" You're a
That
stag.
was the plan.
The plan was to meet back away from the battle. Now they are here, and we do not have a plan, and we do not have Vizara.
Okay. Well, we're here now. And I sort of turn to the Trents. How many more will be joining us?
They were told to meet at our grove's core. We are who you have. Unless the lesser beings.
Actually, sorry, he wouldn't have said that.
Unless the other natives called more.
Will they? Do they know to come here? Do they know to come to this location now? The other Trents.
I sent out a message to the other Trents, but I don't know if they all received it.
Okay, well, I don't think we can charge a group of 150 with 17 Trents. Y'all are awesome, but this isn't going to be enough. There's no way.
I'm willing to wait and see if anybody else shows up now that the location has been changed to here.
I'm willing to wait too. I don't think we have a choice.
But unless we get good numbers,
Yes, unless we have greater numbers, there is not much we can do.
Need like twice this number.
yes. So let's just stay discreet, keep an eye out. Trents look like trees and animals hide.
All right, we're gonna cut from there. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Are there small like woodland critters like maggots
Yes.
and stuff like that?
There are weasels, there are rabbits, there are mice. You see that there are a number of birds at the top of some of the tree's branches. There are natives of the forest from small to large.
Can we get the birds to go check out their defenses?
I can ask. I asked Vernock if any of the birds could fly over and tell us what they see from the camp.
And also if they spy a drow wandering around or in the shadows looking lost.
I can. But so can you, Griff.
Actually, I only have 2 wild shape uses per short rest, so I cannot.
I thought you had speak with animals.
Oh, yeah, that. I use speak with animals.
Okay.
And,
You have all the animals' attention.
we need to learn as much as we can about this tower, otherwise it will destroy the entire forest. If any birds could fly over and bring back information about the tower and the camp, we need all that we can get. Also, if you see a drow elf walking around or captured, they don't know what a drow is. Maybe, I don't know.
Not an orc.
If you see someone that isn't an orc, let us know. And for those that can't fly, if you could, again, go back into the forest and retrieve any Trents that haven't made it here yet or that are heading back to the Grove instead of this location, let them know that the plan has changed and that they should come here.
All right. And so essentially all of the non-flight animals turn and disperse. And the birds that are at the top of the tree or some that are on the bottom spread their wings and dive out and fly in a rather colorful flock. Birds that would never fly together are, and they separate into different directions, come back again and swoop down and across this terrain of this orc tribe. About 30 minutes goes by, and during that time, Vizara, you are still trying to feel this wall. It is very cold to the touch.
Bizarre would be trying to hold on to the pleasant memories of Caluth while she's feeling for it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to use her mage hand to assist her as well.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll investigation to see if you find this little slit.
10.
So you don't find a slit in this wall, in this stone wall, in this obsidian cold room. You feel the smoke dancing around you, this mist still creating the sound in the visages of what you've been trying to repress. And you take 4 points of psychic damage.
Bizarre is going to firmly say no to it.
Okay, and you do, and you hear, no, no, no. And then coming back, you hear a, no! In a male tone, and it echoes across the room.
Bizarre is going to start hyperventilating, but she's trying to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to... She's gonna take her hair down, actually. So that falls down and it's loose.
Your
And-
long white hair just comes down across your body.
And she's gonna call out to Elistrai. If you can hear me, please be with me. I don't want to be alone.
Go ahead and roll a d4.
That was an ominous ooh.
4. A 4. Okay. So as you go in and you focus on Illustrati, the dream that you've had of her, your hair coalesced down your face. You're still hearing the ending of the male no that's coming from behind you as you put both hands on the wall. And you feel almost like an embrace wrapping around you. You feel a face come up and put her chin in the crevice of your shoulder and your head. And you hear a, "You're not alone. You're not alone." Before the embrace lets go, and you are still in this room. The smoke does not have the appearance that you saw before, but you do see it starting to move again.
Mazara is gonna take her blade of returning
Mm-hmm.
and she's gonna speak to it. See if it will speak to her.
There is no words in return.
She's gonna close her eyes and envision that bridge again.
Okay.
And she would like to see if she can go to that bridge with Misty Step.
Go ahead and I think Misty Step, you have to have an area in sight.
Yeah, I have to see it. So that's why it's a long shot. But
Yeah.
okay.
Because of how that could be abused further on, it doesn't work. And you do see the smoke.
Try.
Mhm. No, that's a good idea, but that if I allowed that, then I'd have to allow it with other things, and that could be that's like teleport.
Yeah, for sure. That's not how you want to deal with it.
Yeah. The smoke is turning back into Kaluth and Kazna, and in this room where you can't even see your own hand far in front of you, you hear a, "I don't want to be alone," in that same male voice. And we're gonna cut to everyone else real quick. What are you guys doing?
So Veneris is going to be pacing back and forth. He's going to be talking with the Trents to try to get some idea of what their combat capabilities are. Like, what are they good at? Are they good at like launching boulders from afar? Are they good at like fighting like up close, just like using like big like tree club hands? Like, what do they feel like is their best like ability to fight with?
We can throw rocks. We can slam with our arms. We can do multi-attacks.
I'm trying to
We can extend our roots through the dirt to grapple distant creatures.
Alright, so I want you to split into 3 groups. One, the group who wants to fight and hit with their tree limbs. One who wants to throw rocks, and one who wants to grapple. Actually, no. 2 groups. One who wants to charge in, and one who wants to shoot. Who wants to throw rocks. Those are the 2 groups.
Have we gathered any more trents? Have any more come to us?
During this time, I'm going to say it's been about 30 minutes again. The amount of trants that have come back, as well as a majority of the animals, are 3. So you are now at 20 trants, but it looks like, based on the amount of animals that have come back, that might be it for a while.
Great. All right, so 2 groups. One who wants to throw rocks, one who wants to charge in.
Okay.
We need rocks.
Vernok is going to turn to Kisai and Ai and is going to say, in Trient, which Griff you would understand, find the rocks. And you see 2 Trients go off into the forest.
Detrius is going to speak up. I think I might be better off with the group that's throwing the rocks.
That's fair.
I have quite a distance on my longbow, and it's probably safer for me that far away.
I agree.
Yeah, that's fair. I wish I could stand back.
Just be careful, Veneros.
Veneros is going to blush and grin ever so slightly and say, well, Detrius, you wouldn't be being worried about me now, would you?
I've already had someone die in my arms once. I don't need it to happen again.
If there's ever a place to die, I'd like it to be there. All right. So, I think our best choice is to gather rocks. At this point, I'm going to start casting, using my ritual cast. Well, hold up. Let me check the duration on this. Hold on.
Okay.
What's the duration? Loading. An hour? Okay, no, we're not attacking yet. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think we split into 2 parties. One who stays back and fires things off, and one who charges in. I don't have the range to stand back and fire off, but I'll be towards the back of the charging group.
I will lead the charge, but we're still only at 20 trents.
I know, but... Well, Griff, you know these guys better than we do. Do you think more are coming?
There may be a few, but I can't speak to how many will trickle their way here. But we do also have the assistance of other woodland creatures. It's not just the trents. There are a few boars here. Boars are by no means small creatures. They can hold themselves in a fight along with the bear.
We're talking about a group of 160 orc warriors.
We do have the element of surprise.
How close was that tree line to the camp?
50
To the
meters.
camp?
Or,
About 50 meters, yes.
Watch our attack from there. Beatrice, will you have range?
I think we lost your audio, Tyler.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
You
sorry.
didn't come through the audio.
How's that? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. If we launch your attack from 50 meters from the tree line, Beatrice, will you have enough range from there, or will you still have to get closer?
I have a range of 150 feet and disadvantage to 600 feet.
I don't want to be shooting with disadvantage. But I think it's best we try to sneak up as close as we can. Have we seen any hunting parties or anything go through that section of the woods?
You did see a hunting party go through, and they came back with an owlbear, but not through the section that you guys were hiding in.
Okay, good. That answers my question then.
Bizarra. The smoke is still becoming Kaluth and Cosma and you being held back by other guards. The smoke is reanimating the whole scene, and you see it again where you are being held back, and Kaluth stares up at a visage, declares that it was him before being stabbed by Cosna as she slowly becomes you.
Could I
And you
cast
take-
predidigitation to make the smoke dissipate?
You can. You do so as Cosna becomes you, and the smoke goes through, but you still take 3 points of psychic damage as Kaluth's scream gets dissipated.
Shit.
You haven't moved much. You're still in that same space, so you could feel your back against the wall.
Even with me continuing to feel around for the.
Yeah, so you're feeling around this wall. Like, how are you moving? Like, are you sticking to the wall?
Yeah, I have been. Just to see if I
Okay.
can find
Yeah.
the
So
right- So I'm just
yeah,
kind of
scaling around the wall. Eventually, you reach a corner, and you feel it, and you continue to feel, but you still don't feel the slit.
Can I cast predidigitation again to have a little light show up in my hand? Or wait a minute.
You
I
can.
cast dancing lights so I can. They'll shine light for up to a minute, and as I move around, they'll light up.
So as you move, you have these little orbs of light, and it's a very thick fog, you can tell now by these lights. So you can see a very dim glow of the ones that surround you, but you can only see the very essence of the light if it is very close to you. And you are still feeling isolated and alone. And it feels almost as if a blanket of this emotion is covering you.
I would like to combine the 4 lights into one large glowing one that will take the shape of Kaluth. And
Dancing lights do that?
yes.
Okay.
So I'd like to do that, and it will.
So
shed
there's
light
no
in a 10-foot
distinct features. Okay, so there's no distinct features, but you know that it is the exact height and body shape as Kaluth. And it is lighting up this, but you still, like, this fog is very, very thick. So anything beyond what it's lighting, you can't see.
I'm gonna look down at my mage hand, and I'm gonna start talking to it, and just be like, "We gotta keep looking, because I can't get out of here unless I could see where I'm going." And
There is no response from the mage hand.
yeah, she knows it won't talk back to her.
Okay.
Um,
You hear again in this room, no. A pained no from a male voice.
Ask some specific questions.
The smoke then starts to take the visage of Cosna, killing Stool, killing Boobido, killing those that you traveled with, and each crunch, it's almost like you could hear it and as if you were there. And you take 3 points of psychic damage. We're gonna cut to the rest of the group real quick. What are you guys doing?
Okay.
In Griff's time among Trents, would he know that they can animate other trees, non-Trent trees?
Yes.
I share this with the group. Trents have the ability to animate 1 or 2 other trees to fight alongside them. If there are enough trees in the vicinity, maybe they could animate other trees. That'd be 20 to 40 other trees fighting alongside us.
I like that plan. I like that
That is a
plan.
good number.
All they can do is hit things. They can't really throw rocks, but
It's something.
I suppose if we did split the group of trees in half, we could have half of us enter at one side of the circle of trees, like the perimeter, and have the other group go around the other side of the tower so that when we attack, my experience with orcs in battle is they'll probably flood to the area that is being attacked.
Typically.
So perhaps we can have a group enter through the back end and take them from behind.
This is eyebrows.
Marissa does not have time for your nastiness. But definitely having more Trents. Any more Trents joined us in this time?
No.
Damn it.
But the two that went off to get boulders have come back, and in one of each of their 4 arms, they are holding a rather large rock, and they are passing them among other treants.
Sweet.
The sun has risen, and it is about 7 o'clock. We'll say it's 7.
I asked Vernock if he and the rest of the Trents could animate
Not right now.
2 other trees when we go into battle, each.
We can.
And he looks concerned, but starts to tell the other treants to do so.
Not right now. Not right now.
I said when we go into battle.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think we're getting more than this. Also,
Well, what is our goal? Are we taking the tower? Are we trying to take the tower? Are we trying to wipe out as many orcs as possible? I don't want to go into battle and just wait to be run over by all of these orcs.
fair. I think we try to take out the orcs. We can't storm the tower. We don't even know what's in there.
Right.
And we have no idea where Vizara is. Our best knowledge says that Vizara is captured somewhere in the camp. So I think we take the camp and look for her there.
The repercussions of this is that if we don't wipe out all the orcs and we are forced to back down, they will be aware that this grove of Trents is attacking them. They have enemies in the forest beyond just the animals that they encounter on a daily basis. Is it worth risking that?
I mean,
For them sending more forces, more people, more orcs into the forest to tear down trees and kill animals and Trents?
if they have Vizara, they know that already.
Can I roll perception on the environment to see if I've noticed any abnormalities in their actions based off what we've been watching?
Yes.
Anything near the tower?
Go ahead and roll perception.
It's a 17.
There have been no abnormalities from what you have since gathered.
Can Daetrys try to cast locate animals or plants and are drows animals?
I would consider myself an animal in this particular situation.
So, no.
Okay,
Because-
I figured I would ask.
Yeah. It's another one of those instances where it could be abused later on in different scenarios. So, if you guys are ever hunting someone and you're like, I cast locate plants and animals, and it's like, no, that's for squirrels and whatnot. So I'm going to say no.
She wasn't a humanoid when she went away. Never mind.
She was a gentle fart when she went away.
She was indeed.
Because Daetrys could cast her. She's an elf, but she went away not as an elf. So
I think we have. Venero says, I'm not going to do anything without the approval of the group, but I think our best chance is, even if they haven't found her yet, she's not in gaseous form, they'll find her eventually. So I think the longer we wait, the more we risk them finding her and finding out that we're going to attack them.
Yeah, Marissa, kind of looks at him for a second and then just goes a distance away where she can still see over the cliff and just looks down and is silent.
I want Daetrys to go with Tamarissa.
Okay.
She's not gonna say anything. She's just gonna like put her hand like on Tamarissa's like shoulder blade and like pat it to let her know she's here. But I'm not gonna say anything to her. I'm assuming she's probably thinking.
I acknowledge that she's there, but I don't really say anything. I'm just making the wrong decision is absolutely detrimental to our mission, and it's been kind of like off kilter from what I had thought we were doing. I'm sort of trying to rapidly wrap my head around the new developments, but I'm getting frustrated because I don't want to lead a bunch more people to their deaths based off my history. But I'm just quietly looking down and thinking.
And you see the normal hustle and bustle of these orcs as they continue to chop down trees to put into the flame.
We are ready.
Venera says, yeah, okay. We just need to decide amongst ourselves what the right course of action is here.
I walk back over to the group and to Veneros. And say, as far as the element of time goes, obviously they're preoccupied right now, but I don't think it would take them very long to come to arms. If we did attack now, they're all up and about. Should we wait until it looks like they're calming things down for the evening? We're here in the morning and they were all sleeping. I assume that
It's still only like, what, 8 a.m., 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
It's about 7:20 now.
We'd be waiting a while.
Yeah, they're still waking up. I mean, obviously it's more active than it was, but...
Any that are still asleep might not have time to grab their weapons.
That is true.
Plus, it's not just 20 Trents, it's 20 Trents and 40 animated large trees. So that puts our numbers at 60, plus the element of surprise and the woodland creatures as well.
Plus us.
And us.
Sure call, Tamarissa. You're the battle commander here.
What are you guys going to do?
We don't even know what she saw in there.
We don't.
And even with the animated trees and the woodland creatures, what if they're building an army in there? And they just unleash the floodgates and
We all die.
we all die.
Unfortunately, we lost our ability to understand what's going on in there because she never came back. I don't like it. I'm not saying I like it. I'm saying I think it's the right option, but I'm not the only person here. We're only going to go when all of us agree to go. We can't all... We either have to... Even if it's the wrong decision as a group is better than the right decision split halfway. It is better if we all agree that this is the course of action. So I think before we go, we have to decide what our course of action is, because if some of us are halfway committed, we're not going to do it. We have to either all commit to a bad decision or the right decision, we don't know, or we have to back off.
Tamarissa's gonna close her eyes and reach up to her amulet. she's gonna step away before she does this because she doesn't like people watching her talk to her goddess. And she's gonna call out to Tamarissa and ask for guidance.
You mean?
Oh, I'm Tamarissa.
It was inside you all along.
Yeah. Reach
What
out
exactly-
to Tamara and
What exactly do you say? And
I
then
say-
when you're done, you can roll a d4 for me.
I say, Tamara, I have reason to believe that the answers to some of my questions and some of my questions on my path of vengeance could be found within this tower. We have also lost a friend to the tower, and they're tearing this forest to shreds, and I can't, in my good conscience, sit back and do nothing. I don't want to put my party at risk or our new Trent friends and animals, but I just can't seem to think what the right thing to do is, and I could really use some guidance right now from above.
Go ahead and roll a d4.
She's just gonna kill me. That is a 2.
2. Okay. You don't hear a voice, you don't see a visage, but you feel the wind pull you and your hair towards the tribe below, towards the tower. You feel it almost as if there's a slight push towards it. And for a second, looking down, it reminds you of when you were on the cliff looking out at Taldore. And the wind dies down.
I nod to myself, and although I have suddenly grown a little bit scared, I walk back to the group with the same confidence I had when I left. And I turn to Veneris and say, well, if we're going to do this, we need a plan.
Agreed.
And start to come up with a plan. Okay, so... Oh, go ahead.
Go. You go.
I like the idea of splitting it up so we have 2 different levels of combat. Those... You disappeared again.
Who?
Oh. So we have those fighting from the back, Datris and the rock throwers,
The rock.
and also those of us charging into battle up front. Do you think it's a good idea to space out? Oh, wait, go ahead.
That's a great band name, Datris and the Rock Throwers.
Should that be the episode's title? We have to talk about this.
Well, let's see how the battle goes. Because otherwise it could be like a really sad tribute.
The
So
final
let's
tour of Datris and the Rock Throwers.
yeah. Okay. So, do you think it's a good idea to spread out the rock throwers so we have them hitting at like different points across the camp, or do you think it'd be a good idea to kind of cluster them together?
Probably along a line at the back.
I think we use them as like well, we don't know what artillery is.
They're quite good at destroying structures.
Yeah, so we use them as like our opening volley. They launch a bunch of rocks while we're charging across the field. Now, when we hit their lines, they have to stop throwing the rocks because otherwise they'll hit us too. And then at that point, they'll rush forward to help us. But I think we use them initially as
To take out as many as they can before we actually hit the front line.
as well as just cause general chaos.
Yes. General chaos. General chaos.
Or just they're eating his breakfast.
Rock. Yeah. Okay. We do have our animated trees too that are... They're better
Quite strong.
and they're good. They're combat based.
They can womp stuff.
Okay.
They can womp them.
So, if our main goal was wiping out as many orcs as we possibly can, then definitely that's our first priority before we I would assume we would try to take the tower at least do some damage on it, because between you and me, it looks very evil and there's lots of fire around it, so I don't think it's a good thing.
I agree. In all of my studies of hell, this would be more on the hell side than like the heaven. If there was like a spectrum, like this would be like leaning pretty heavy hell and not towards heaven.
No, okay. All right. So, do we like the idea of a group charging from a different vantage point, or do we want everybody charging in for the same point? Because I could take in like the main group from the front, and we could have maybe you lead a party from another direction.
Like
That would give
them.
you, like flank them, give them a kind of a second surprise attack. We're working with a circle, so
Do we have the
It's kinda
numbers for
good.
that?
we will have 60 Trent, right?
Well, 20 Trent and 40 animated
Okay.
trees.
That are pretty close to Trent. They're like what, 3/4 of a Trent? Okay. Plus our animal companions, some of which fly. Not really sure. What can we use birds for in battle? I guess they could drop things.
Peck at their
Drop
eyes.
rocks.
Yes, okay. So we will have, I guess, a small Air Force
Very small
accompanying
rocks.
us. Very small
Our
rocks.
superiority is important in any battle.
Quite an interesting term.
Space Force.
Damn it.
Are there any aliens in the area?
Yeah, us.
Little green men.
We could flank if we have the numbers. I'm just not sure that we have the numbers, and well, frankly, I'm not exactly a battle commander.
I'm just here to shoot things. Tell me where to point my arrows.
I suppose after the rock throwing Trents are finished throwing the rocks, they could come in
Be
from
like
another.
the second
Yeah.
force.
Yeah,
They
they
could-
should be
they are-
second wave for sure.
Yes. So after they've done their damage, perhaps they could move sort of behind the action and enter the action from the backside.
Yes.
I look at Veneros and shoot him a serious look.
And Veneros goes, while I do have some extent coming from the back end, I'm not sure that that's... I think having them do that is fine, but, I mean, no offense, guys, and I, like, sort of, like, pat the nearest Trent on its bark. I'm like, we're the heavy hitters. We need to be hitting as hard as we possibly can, as often as we can. So if they want to circle around behind, we'll leave that up to them. But I think the rest of us should be in the thick of it. We need to
Yep.
we need to be hitting. Anytime your DPS isn't hitting is like wasted DPS.
All right, gamer.
Distance per stroke, yes. I know that term. Okay. Well,
I suppose we should prepare for battle.
All right.
I think
Are you guys gathering into your? Sorry, we keep on doing that. Go.
I think we decided the best approach would be the closest to, as to give us as much tree cover as we can on our approach. And I think we hit
Okay.
in between the. Tamarissa, how long was it between guard rotations?
I estimated with the original group that we started with between 32 and 33 minutes. I'm not 100% sure about the new group. They could be a little bit faster, a little bit slower, but I would say half an hour.
So if we hit them at 15 minutes, then that group of guards will be the farthest away from 15 minutes after they go by. That will be the farthest away they will possibly be from us.
That's
Yes.
correct.
So if we hit at that time, that would delay their forces from getting to us.
True. That being also, how often did you see the guards switch with other groups of guards? Trade off their post?
Taylor, how often did I see that?
So, you can make the educated guess that it's every 2 hours,
Every 2 hours.
but you've been planning. You haven't been actively watching and whatnot.
Yeah, I've been dealing with. I think as long as they're on the other side of the camp, that's about as much time. If I remember correctly, the change only took 10 minutes anyways. So, and the distance we're getting in favor of that is no different than any other distance. We're not gaining anything. Like the distance they have to come to us is going to be the same whether they're changing out or not.
Very true. There are guards on posts, yes?
You did see that they built one, and there is one wooden tower where there is guards up top. But from what you've seen, they carry out their normal life here.
Datris, if you could take care of that early on.
Will do.
Anybody at the top of the tower?
This isn't like the top of the big tower, right?
No, this is a smaller.
No.
It's like I guess like a guard tower.
I figured I'd verify. That's what I thought, but
Yes.
We
Yes, could you please shoot them from the 60-story tower?
there is like daily life going on here, right? Have we seen younger orcs? Or is it just like a battalion?
You have seen younger orcs.
Crap.
younger orcs turn into older orcs that turn into killers. That is what Datris says.
We're ultimately attacking a... I'm not saying they're nice people, but... I mean, Veneris would do it anyways.
It reminds me of that meme where it's like from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where he's like, "Who we killing? I won't do women or children, but I'll make an exception if the kid's a jerk." There's like a meme with that.
Is that Adrian Pimento?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I think...
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen them, like, beating dogs and, like, tearing apart the forest and, like...
And destroying and murdering.
I suppose putting it out there, I mean, I would assume that the children would be steered away from the battle, but I don't know orcs that well. So I'm just going to throw it out there to you guys. Maybe punch kids in the face, don't kill them.
Or break their legs so they can't run away.
Like, Tamaris is trying to find a way to, like, emotionally, like, get, like, after looking down and seeing Taldori, like, the carnage that was all her people, including dead children, she's having a little bit of a hard time verifying this to her conscience.
Like,
So the only way I think to get around it is to...
So while you guys are finalizing this plan, Vizara, you are still in this room. The mist is still coalescing. And every once in a while, you hear a pained male voice say, "No! I don't want to be alone!" And it is far off in the distance. You can't even tell where it's coming from.
A couple ideas. Bizarra would like to see how much she can use prestidigitation. She's gonna feel the wall and see if she can change the color enough, even in just her general area, and kind of make it flash.
So you mean make it flash a color? Yeah, but it goes away once the prestidigitation is done.
How
And
long
you
would
can
it?
only see the wall when you get close to it. Like if your dancing lights come up, I don't know how long that lasts, but if they come up, then you can see the wall. But
I mean, they're what's the word? Like, not conjuration.
Cantrip?
Spells.
You mean
They're a
cantrips?
cantrip. Yeah, they're a cantrip. I don't know why.
you can keep them going, but the color will change. Like you'd have to focus on that one spot over and over again. And I assume you're scaling the walls.
Can I make a general distinction of which way is facing the tent that I was investigating earlier?
Make an intelligence check at disadvantage because you've been scaling around this room, and it's impossible really to see far out in front of you.
16?
You don't really know. And the smoke is starting to coalesce again. And this time it is taking on the image of you and Eldith speaking. And Eldith saying, I just want to go home. Before a spear comes through her stomach in front of you and she falls to the ground.
Ouch, Taylor. Holy shit.
And you take 4 points of psychic damage.
Zara's gonna need some therapy after this.
And once again, you feel alone. And it's starting to really rack your brain. And you bring your hand up to your face, and as you do, it feels wet. And you pull your hand away, keeping it close because you know you can't bring it that far to see. But you see red, and you feel blood has started to come out of your eyes.
Shit.
I don't like that one bit, so Zara is gonna just go to the ground and start digging.
You go to dig, and as you dig, you're carving your nails into obsidian, and your nails break and chip as you claw away the.
God.
And the smoke just coalesces again and again, and all that you hear is, I just want to go home, I just want to go home, I just want to go home, before you hear, I have no home! And silence as the smoke dissipates.
Did you have like a really bad childhood and that's why you're making me experience it too?
I had the best childhood. My parents are amazing. We're going to cut to everyone else. I want everyone to know that I would like to end this session with a battle plan because we have been playing for a while. So next game, we're going to start with the battle. So we're going to go back to you guys.
I mean,
All right.
I think we have a battle plan, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
right.
I will lead the troops on the ground into battle. Remember, there are spikes around the perimeter.
Yep, spikes on the perimeter.
I'm glad that we know that in advance. Spikes, wolves. Watch out for pits. There are fire pits dug into the ground. That would be a really embarrassing way to die, so watch your feet. And I'm telling myself that because that's likely something that I would do.
don't like this.
I think that's our best plan. I'll be with the group charging because I don't have a range to get people from the tree line as much as I'd like to. And yeah,
Am I going to be riding on a treant?
That would be amazing.
May as
not a
well.
bad plan.
Vernock is the biggest Trent, right?
Vernock is the biggest, and he is the eldest elder. There are 5 elders, and they all stand the tallest, but Vernock is the tallest among them.
Okay. So I feel Vernock should stay back with the group that's throwing things. Obviously, height advantage is good. And perhaps maybe he would be the best one for you to ride in on, Datris.
If he'll have me.
It is an honor, little tree.
In the interest of protecting the forest, I think the animals should be in the second wave.
I agree.
Yes.
I definitely agree.
What if we had a sort of pre-air bombing? Like, what if the birds dropped some, bird droppings to cause some chaos right before we hit them with rocks?
I think that would be a good idea. I was going to ask if maybe, we already have the element of surprise, but you can create distractions. Perhaps you could create a distraction away from our point of entry.
Veneros looks nervous.
Nervous.
Taylor, where is the den of dogs?
The den of dogs.
Where they keep the hounds that they walk around.
The wolf.
I will draw it out for you. I think that something that might be interesting too is I'll post the map of this settlement on our Instagram and send it to you guys as well, so that way you can finalize your battle plan. Because we have been playing for a while, so our battle will be next game. But
Man, I wanna
essentially,
But yes, we should.
yes, essentially the wolf pit is over there.
Okay, and that's the tent. The square
Yes.
is the tent. Okay, so
Yeah, this is the tent.
So what if
The tent, the tower, and the circle.
what if I have my unseen servant start untying the dogs from the pit?
that would certainly qualify as a distraction. It would be something to take their mind off, or to take their attention off where we were going to enter. Plus, it might give us a chance to peek at who is in the tent.
He's only got a range of 60 feet. I'm gonna have to get close to do it.
How far away can you? Wait, no, you can't talk. Untie dogs. Never mind. That doesn't work.
I cast Untie Dogs. I cast Wind Battle.
Oh, Taylor, you're
Keep it
making
good
me
and good.
so sad.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'll have to get close to do it.
We could have Daetra shoot some arrows on fire into the battlements. Maybe not beforehand. That's just maybe an idea for during the battle.
We
Speaking
have
of fire,
threat allies.
Speaking of fire, I don't believe Venerosarai have used our breath weapon yet, have we?
We haven't. The problem is, since we're aided with Trents, I think fire would hurt us more than them.
I'm just saying, if we need to burn down some tents at all, it might be useful.
Perhaps the big one if we're aiming to burn down tents. Just based off normal battle regiments and also civilizations in general, it does seem that the big tent is where the big guns live. So any jump start we could get on that tent would be very helpful.
So how far is the dog pit from the tree line?
So the dog pit from the tree line that you guys stayed at, or just from the tree line in general?
From the tree line in general.
Okay. I'd say about 50 meters.
I have to get into the open ground to untie them, because I only have a range of 60 feet on the unseen servant. That's a risk. It's a huge risk.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be the.
No, I don't think that's worth taking.
I agree. As funny as it would be, I don't think it is.
But you can always do it later.
That is true.
That's true. Then I think we open up with like a good old bird poop volley,
Classic.
and then the treants launch some rocks ahead of us, and we charge.
I may even be able to convince the direwolves to fight with us.
That would be incredibly helpful.
That would be very helpful. I think
Yes.
that should be your objective once the battle starts. And then once we hit their lines, the ones throwing rocks have to stop throwing rocks because they might hit us. And they'll join as well as the rest of the forest animals.
Yes. And again, aim at taking out orcs over the tower initially. If anybody else has any very cool things that could help us, now would be the time.
Very cool thing.
I know I'm like looking through my stuff.
Yep. Please say so right now, because we are about to close out this session.
I also do heal, so if
I can
You know.
heal as well.
cool.
I have two different heal spells.
How
So
many
if they're-
boulders do we have?
As you guys have been talking, Kasai and Malay have been going out and getting boulders. You have quite a number of them.
So I can cast floating disc, and I could carry some boulders on the disc that they could then use once we hit the tree lines.
I love that idea.
What if you carried some boulders on a floating disc and then took the disc away?
Whatever was underneath it would get crushed.
What's my range? Hold up.
And Tatius is like, yeah.
So it's only 3 feet in diameter, so it's not like super big.
Mhm.
It can hold up to 500 pounds, so I can hold it.
You could hold a 500-pound boulder.
A 503-foot diameter, but well,
You could drop that on the big tent to begin with.
You'd have to get close enough. But
That is true.
I would have to get close, but only within 20 feet.
Is this something we'd want to lead with?
No.
No.
Okay. This is something second wave.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, I want to spend time casting. Then before the battle, I want to spend time casting floating disc as a ritual.
Okay. So it sounds like you guys have your plan.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So as you all gather your thoughts, gather your strengths, gather your power, the woods start to come out and join all of you outside, and you feel a bit of strength in your numbers. You feel confident in your plan, and across the way, a dear friend of yours feels nothing but isolation, and now the pain of her fingernails being chipped away by the obsidian. As we end this session tonight, the last thing, Vizara, that you hear before we do is, I just want to go home. And that is where we end tonight.
So stressed. I'm so stressed.
Thank you everyone for joining us on that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cry after this.
Oh no.
Stay tuned to watch us punch some people in the face next time.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this. It's going to be
too.
like an all-out battle. I'm going to have to go get some minis.
Yes.
I'll be painting a lot.
A chance to flex our fighting muscles.
Yeah. And we'll have to think of the title of this episode, but we can do that after. But thank you so much, you guys, for those of you who tuned in for our second episode. Yeah, I saw that we got 2 new followers as well, so welcome to the Risky Roller family. We will be doing a dice giveaway soon, as well as some other goodies that might be given away. So stay tuned for that on our Instagram. And I will be posting the map. I'll try to do that tonight, if not tomorrow, so that way you guys can spend the next 2 weeks continuing to prep and plan. And for those of you who don't know, we do play this campaign bi-weekly on Sundays at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Does anybody else have any last announcements or anything like that?
I am scared. Yeah.
I'm
If anybody has any ideas on how to escape an obsidian tower, I'm listening very intently.
Yes, please message at Shannon the Bee for any ideas on how to escape the Obsidian Tower.
And if any of you have any ideas about how to crush them, let me know at the Freckled DM.
No, don't.
Do not do that.
Don't do
Don't do
that.
that.
Oh,
You don't want
believe me, she doesn't need any help. She's done a pretty good job of crushing us so far.
No. I'm very excited she went through the crack.
I'm not anymore.
Oh, man. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. And if any of you have any artwork, by the way, from this session, like if you doodled something or created any pieces, please send it our way and we'll put it on our YouTube channel at the very end of this episode. And we'll tag you in it as well, so that way people can come and find you and your awesome work. But thank you again for tuning in.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, guys.
Bye.
Stay tuned for battle.
Yes.